sister, rise and go. System failed you, that I know. I wanna celebrate with you, lose control. Push the boundaries with you, yeah. Dress the skyline with you, yeah. Tell me, do you want it?
Morning chat. I see Nightbot's going wild already this morning here. What's good? I am looking to see maybe like get some gold long positions. I'm waiting for price to trend. So we're back here at consolidating London. Hopefully today London would consolidate and, you know, price can break above resistance over here by 34.27. And we can get a move towards the upside. That's what I'm going to be anticipating. That's what I'm going to be hoping that price does here today. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you all having a good day. Good morning. We got everybody here in the chat. Luke, Ricardo, Architect. What's good, guys? Tall Trader Titus, Nani, the doctor in here. What's up, Josho? Morning, Jay. Morning, guys. Good morning, Xauusd. Angelito. Grant in the chat. Ellie. What's good, guys? Welcome back to the stream. So that's pretty much simple right here. Oh yeah, thank you for that. All right, let me unmute Zoom. Awesome. Hey, good morning, Vikrant. So it seems like we're doing a small little grab currently below these candles. I feel like price might be looking at around, you know, 34.28 there. Break above the zone. Got some clean range here that we can fill up. Yeah, I think we could get a bullish continuation today. I missed it yesterday. Oh, yesterday was crazy move over here. Where'd you get the buy? I think the buy was right here. Yeah, I think the buy was right there. Our stop was just below this area. Nearly got stopped out, but you know, we should respect structure. That's why we got our stops there. Man, that price. You know what's so funny? Because we spoke about this. Oh, wait. Something is missing here on the stream. Where is this thing? How can I bring this back? No. Wait, let me see what's going on here. Where is the view counter? View counter has disappeared. Yeah, anyway, I'm just waiting for price to break above resistance here. Hopefully, daily can start trending in a bit. View count. So you could launch this. No. Gotta look up fundamentals here in a bit for the day. Nightbot took the view counter. Yeah, this thing completely just disappeared. Probably a glitch. Maybe it comes on later on. So I see price is trying to break above, but the daily does not seem... Yeah, the daily is only 0.11%. Looks like we didn't have too crazy of a movement during the Asia time. Got a little bit of fake out above here. One push up towards like 34.38, and then price just completely tumbled. But yeah, I think this could be a range that could get filled. Not too much movement here today. I think it's because we had such a big move, a big push yesterday. No. Yeah, no view count today. I think it's probably glitching. I'm gonna wait for some more directional. Let's see what the daily's saying. If you look at the daily, do you not think it's more likely for it to react off the daily level and start to come down today? No, it's pretty... Yeah, actually, you're right. You know, we got some daily resistance points here. But with this amount of bullishness, like, you know, price is finally... It looks like it's heading towards, like, 3,500. Yeah, I got 3,500 here. So... we're really close. Yeah, you know, the thing is, like, Trump is 100% cutting rates. Like 100% Trump is cutting rates. Probably gonna wait for he keeps saying 8 months, you know, waiting for 8 months for Powell to get fired. Oh, no, get fired for his term to end. But Trump definitely wants to cut rates, and he wants to cut it more than once. So, you know, that's seeming like a very certain thing, and markets here already reacting to that. So price, I told, like, price on gold is always going to move up. Like, that's why we're talking about, like, how this range, we're going to look back at this range when we're all the way somewhere up here. Then we're going to be talking about how we consolidated in this range for such a long time. Just the same way, you know, markets repeat themselves over and over again. Like, it's the same way, like here. You know, we're here and we're talking about this range for a long time, and you know, now we moved all the way up here, and it's gonna be the same thing over and over again. That's why, like, sometimes, you know, you see these big moves, and I don't hold these moves. You know, I don't need to hold these moves anymore. Like, you know, when you've been trading for a long time, you're gonna realize these moves, that always happen. You can always be able to catch a move like this. You know, that's why for me, the only time that I'm looking to actually hold crazy is if I'm in drawdown. So if I'm having like maybe a really bad run, and I need that one trade to get me out of drawdown, then I'm going to be more focused on spending that month to try and catch one of these bigger moves. You know, but you shouldn't feel FOMO about missing such things. Like, these things always happen. Just the same way as we talked about on the daily. Yeah, I think what it is what I realized trading on social media is, like, people, when they see you close early, they're going to say, oh, you closed early and then the move happened. But trading's not about, it's not about catching necessarily the move all the time. You know, you just have to be profitable trading your system. That's when you gotta differentiate between noise and genuine, like, your own performance. Because I think online, man, online there's a lot of noise when it comes to trading. There's a lot of misconceptions and there's a lot of noise. But yeah, that was a good move. You know, it's funny because we talked about this. We're like, oh man, probably just hold one of these trades. Because the day previously before that also had this one right here. This one right here. And then that one just skyrocketed up. And then the next day got this one right here. And you know, the funny thing, chat, is this move happened at the same exact time this move was. This move, we got it like 7:10. And then this move happened exactly at 7:10, man. Like, just like clockwork. It's insane. Insane. And then the same volume came in. So that's why I mean, like, that's why I'm not messing with the London session no more. Like, the reason I've been losing London is because London is not freaking moving, chat. Like, this is a garbage session for the last, like, I think 1 or 2 months. It's completely trash. Like, look, the daily is just down 0.08%. And you know, the thing is, like, London, it's much more easier to trade when price is in a direction, when it's giving you some follow-throughs, because during this time, you know, we have a potential to range into pre-New York, and then pre-New York, or rather, let's say the New York session in general, gives the daily direction. But you know, sometimes we get these really nice days on London too, where it's like Asia's moved, pre-London's moved, and then London opens, and then London moves for a little bit, and then it ranges. But we're not even getting that little bit anymore. So yeah, I'm just waiting here. See what happens again. Maybe catch a move today at 7:10 a.m. See, today 0.56%. Nice. 3% yesterday. Those are pretty good results. Yeah, really good results. I feel like yesterday people made a lot of money from this move, eh? This is like something we just anticipated. You should watch our yesterday's video on the channel, guys. This was something that this is why I love to trade macros. Because it's like, you know, this thing happened and there's a probability of gold moving up over here. So yeah, I mean, like, Powell is still going to be in office for the next 8 months, you know, but looking at one rate cut this year, we're not looking at any rate cuts for this month. And if we're not looking for any rate cuts this month, you know, it's a lot of bullish exuberance that we're seeing on gold currently. Dollar is doing pretty weak here today. We got like almost 0 bars. Yeah, 0 bars on the dollar. So we should, gold should be moving up. See DXY. Dollar index coming down here. Daily time frames bearish. We should have cut rates long ago. Europe cut rates. Or what was Trump saying? Other countries been cutting rates, but America's not cutting rates. You know, it's an easy job. This is what I've always said as well. Like, Powell's job is low-key kind of like easy, right? Like, not easy, but like all he has to do is come in every once in a while and then say the same thing. It's like he reads a script, right? Yeah, it's so awesome to see Trump say that. Yeah, that's why I like Trump, man. Trump is like, you can relate to him, you know? Like, I think a politically correct president would never say such a thing, you know? But it's the truth. Like, you know, as traders, we see what Powell's job is. He comes, he says the same thing again, and it's always like a delaying process, you know? It's a delaying process. Just the same routine. And then the end of the year, toward the end of the year, that's when he maybe cuts a rate. You know, he's gonna cut a rate towards the end of the year. But the whole time he just plays this game. Then he maybe cuts one time. Maybe 2 times. But I don't know. I guess he's doing it right, though. I don't know what Trump really wants to do with the economy. But Trump has... Man, Trump is leeching onto Powell right now. It's like somebody told him that now this is the next level over here. It's like, you know, Trump had an agenda. Before becoming president, he wanted to sort some things out. Now he's at the Powell level. Now he's at the Federal Reserve's neck. Because, you know, man, this is a lot of control. This is a lot of control of money over there. You know, Trump as a businessman is going for that control. He's going for that control. I think he's going to have a lot more flexibility with whatever he's planning on doing. So he's definitely on Powell's neck. So, yeah, I didn't watch the thing yesterday, but, you know, price moved up here, so... Talk about power with Powell. I mean, imagine being able to move the world with every sentence you say. Yes. Now imagine having control over that person. Now, if Trump could control what that person may or may not say. It's like, you know, there's this really funny political cartoon like image thing that I like, where it's like a wolf, right? So it's a wolf. It's a wolf standing by the podium, and then they're like sheep down over here. So these are like sheep, and then you got the wolf saying, if you elect me, I promise to become a vegetarian, or something like that. You know, it's perfect political. Because, you know, like once he become president, man, that's when that wolf, he doesn't become vegetarian. He doesn't become vegetarian. The sheep vote him in anyway. I think, yeah, Trump is definitely gonna take advantage with all the access to resources he has now. He's not planning on going to jail. Never tried to put him in jail once, a few times. He's gonna set things up so that never happens again. You know, I think he was in a very vulnerable position at one point, and now he's learned from that. I was stuck on US 100 trade yesterday. I was not in that position so long. I had to buy and sell so much to BE. Trade was crazy. But anyway, right now we're getting the daily candlestick about to flip here. Just needs to push up about 18 pips. Hopefully it reflips. Typical narcissist. Yeah, Trump is what's that guy's name? The actor from American Psycho. Damn, can't believe I forgot his name. Man, that's crazy. Like there's video evidence of, not video, but voice calls of Trump talking about Lindsay Lohan when she was like a teenager. Like Trump is actually, he's a wild character. Talking about how Lindsay Lohan's chest has a lot of freckles and you know, if you're into that sort of thing. And man, he's talking about a teenager. What the fuck? Yeah, but anyway, let's see. In terms of trading, yeah, exactly, Christian Bale. But I was looking for his name when he acted in American Psycho. What was he called? But yeah, in terms of trading, we do like Trump because he does bring in a lot of volatility for us. You know, like politics aside and that sort of thing, I don't think traders really have much of a political, like, no, I don't think they really should have much of a political view. Really, it's just like what kind of like easier for us to trade. You know, maybe we just have like some favorites because of the craziness that brings. You know, someone like Biden is kind of it's not very sure like what we can expect from Biden. Hence, you know, it's uncertain what we can expect from the market, really. Just expecting normal conditions. But with Trump, man, look at this. Look at this. How can you not like the guy? Screw your emotions, you know, screw what he says. Like, you know, trading, you have to be emotionless. If you're too emotional and you have all these views and stuff, then how are you ever gonna make money, you know? So you just have to see the world for what it is. Trump is a wild guy and he creates wild moves. So now you can try and take advantage of that. You know, so that's it. That's it. If it doesn't move gold, then I'm not interested really. Hey, good morning all. Good morning, Smike. If it doesn't move gold, I'm not interested in politics. You know, because these politicians, you have so much like anger about this side and that side. Man, they're all having lunch together, you know. They're at the golf course, they're having lunch together. Whilst everybody else is picking sides, you know. It doesn't make sense. So I think I just focus on like what can you do to make your life better? What is this here? We got to buy, exit. Oh man, look at this. If you hold this trade, this completely moved up. Damn. I'm sure the stop loss was tight on this as well. 10 pips. Yeah, but it's all power games. Just cash the pips. Yes. It's all power games. It's all just one big old game. But politics is a very, very difficult game. I must admit. It is a very difficult arena. Something that you have to be somewhat passionate about. Yeah, politics is difficult. Very difficult. It's a very risky job to have, I think. Yeah, I guess depending on your country as well. Third world country is probably more risky. Good thing not to talk politics and religion at all. Yes, sir. Let's see. Gold's recovery seems to have picked up momentum. Gold's recovery seems to have picked up momentum over the past few days. Based on the daily chart, this has led to the precious metals break above what appears to be a triangle formation. Oh, triangle formation. The senior technical strategist says, from here, a break above the June high of 3451 would increase the probability of a further rise towards the record high of 3500. So that's where we're heading to. I think that's the target that gold is looking at. To sustain this momentum build-up, the precious metal must hold above 3311. 3311, let's see. Spot gold is down 0.4%. 3311. Yeah, we can hold 3311. Man, we're all the way above here. This 3400 here. We are about 260 pips from 3400. You see, this is what I mean. Like, this is London session vibes. Like, these little fakies, look at this. It breaks above, then it says, oh, not yet. Back in the range. And then it keeps doing that until pre-New York time. What the hell, London? What the hell, London? What the hell-y? But you see, the thing is today, we didn't have much movement during the Asia though. Asia and pre-London. So I think this is mainly a break from this move yesterday. It's just taking a break over here. But we're super close to 3,500. So if we're taking a break there to move up bullish, let's see. That means we could see around like, well, could we see maybe 3,500 by today's Wednesday, Friday? For Freaky Friday, we might see 3,500. So for today, I'm looking maybe at around 3,470. as a daily target, and then Freaky Friday, we're gonna end off the week here at all-time highs for gold. Yeah, I think that would be a nice Freaky Friday. And that would be a good way to end off the week here. Well, if it's in news, we can expect manipulation lower to go higher. Let me see. I don't know what you mean by that, but today we don't have fundamentals. We have US dollar and we have AUD news. So actually today, no, it's a pretty nice day. We don't have anything to really look out for. No one's speaking today. And yeah, now we just got to see if price gives follow-throughs. Maybe it gives a follow-through from yesterday's PA to continue upwards. That's what I'm going to be anticipating. Yesterday made 4K, risking $250 on NQ, entered before 9:30 New York open price. Licked my SL and dumped, caught the huge move. Might start trading gold only for swings. Yeah, right now gold is pretty good. That was the whole idea behind, you know, the swing entry models as well, because there was so much volume yeah, I think gold is really nice when it comes to that. See, gold futures as well, pretty much the same thing, same entry, same setup. Right here. Looks slightly different though, the way it's breaking this resistance. Candlestick here is about to close. Is this the one that reversed? Is it gonna look like, let me see. One time? Yes, one time. Yeah, it's all power games, yes. Futures also reversed. No, not yet. I'm gonna show you a sniper entry here. I'll show you a sniper entry here now. $28 seconds. 20 seconds. Next candlestick should rip down. A tight stop loss on this. I'm so confident in this trade that I'm willing to have a... What is this? The 5 pip stop loss? A very tight stop loss. Now this candle here is going to push downwards and close bearish in the next 5 minutes. You know, that's a problem. That's a problem with just blindly following trades. You know, sometimes someone could just blindly follow this. Take a sell here. And then they get triggered somewhere down here. But look at that. So sick. Man, I just found this out what is that, last week, that the futures chart is 10 minutes behind. Man, I did not think that TradingView would make someone pay for data feeds. That's wild. That's wild. I think they took advantage of people not being able to trade gold spot, and they said, hey, you know, we can make some money here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna secure here. I'm gonna secure here at a 1 to 2.75. Imagine. That would be so sick. That would be illegal. That would have to be illegal. Man, if it was really like this, I don't think I'd ever sleep. I would need to give myself like at least like 50 to 100 trades a day. If possible. But yeah, prices faking out here, breaking above resistance, create like a support, re-breaking the lows, clean range on down towards like, you know, 34.21. But I'm just gonna be chilling here. I'm just gonna wait. Hey, Xauusd, doing pretty good. Yeah, the swing entry. A little consolidation break there too. Do those 50 to 100 trades a day for a month and you're good for life. Oh yes, man. You can crazily compound your account. Like if you're just given a month to be able to do that, and then after the month you wouldn't be able to, like you can definitely sort yourself out. Even starting with like $100, easily scale that $100. Just be flipping it basically all the time. Make $200 from $200, 400, 400, 800, and you just gotta keep flipping it and flipping it. And then obviously with the ones which move like quite big, you know, you can have a bigger risk to reward, and like push the 800. Man, oh, it'll be a dream. It'll be a dream. Look at this. But that's not the case. That's why we gotta stick to 1 to 2 trades a day. Imagine risking 5% per trade. I could risk 5% per trade, but you know, it's just about like your risk appetite. Like, how do you really want to risk 5% per trade? You know, it's just about getting more capital than increasing the risk. Increasing the risk should be, I feel like that should be the last thing that you want to do. Generally speaking, you just want to get more capital. But if, you know, increasing the risk helps you get that capital initially, I think it's a good idea. But in the long term, psychologically, 5%, you know, sometimes I have like 3 losing streak. That's like 15% drawdown. Sometimes I have really nice winning streaks though. But risk is discretionary. Someone trading a small account does not mind 5% or 10%. Someone trading a big account, it hits a bit different. Like right now for me to lose, for example, 2,000, 2,500, that's a lot. Because I don't chase risk reward necessarily, I just trade based off percentages. So yeah, I'd say like that is a lot. Because I think on average my wins are like 1 to 1, where I'm looking for around 2%. 2%. So it kind of like makes it easier. You know, it's harder to catch risk reward. It's much easier to navigate percentage than it is for risk reward. Because you can't control the risk reward, right? It's the market environments which dictate risk reward. I mean, you can put yourself in pretty nice positions to catch them. Especially if you got tight stop losses, you get a better chance of catching them. But for most people, I think it's much harder to catch. A lot of people struggle with the risk to reward. Like right here, you got a small little break. Let me see what risk to reward this was. About like a 9.1 pips. Oh, it's just about a 1-to-1. Yeah, because the market is always looking to take people out. So there's a little accumulation here I'm looking at. And then you see it like hits profit targets, and then it's always looking to like take people out. So this is an example that we've been showing, I think, all week of how the market typically, before it even has a big move, that it would be looking to take you out first of your position. I think that happens more often than not. So that's why you have more runners become break-evens. Or, you know, losses. Then sometimes you get these really nice moves. As I always say, your best moves are never going to give you a hard time. So it's better to get as many break-evens as you need until you catch one of these bomber clot trades. You see? So look at this. Best trades never give you a hard time. Price just kept moving up. One stop loss was a break-even. Best trades never, just always have that in the back of your head. Best trades never give you a hard time. You see this? Stop loss at break-even. Price just keeps moving up. So I guess those are the ones that you're really trying to catch, because the ones which start to come back into drawdown, then it becomes like, you know, 50-50, I guess. Would you do a small challenge to grow $100 big? No, I think that's just a waste of time to do that. But I've already done a challenge once on YouTube for $50 to $250, which I know it's not that much. People have done more than this, but like the thing is, it's just a waste of time, you know? It's a waste of time. It's just to prove to yourself that you can take a small account to a high number. And it makes for a pretty nice video. I mean, you got Alex G turning, what did he recently do? $1,000 to, can't remember, 100K? And then he did $100 to 1 million. Yeah, I think if you're gonna make like content, if you're making entertainment, it's an amazing thing. But if you're actually trading, it's a massive waste of time. And also doing something like that is impossible. Like 100 to 1 million. That's just my 2 cents on it. It's very, very, like, especially a short duration. I think it took like what, 3 months? 3 months to become a millionaire? Crazy. That is wild. So when I did the 50 to 250, that was just because during that time I was new onto YouTube and I said, you know, I can do this, so let me just do this. So I did to 250 and then I stopped. Yeah, using own server MT5. Yes. Yeah, you can do that. I think it's like, what, how much does it cost to rent those things per month? Maybe like, I'm guessing $3,000 per month, something like that. 5,000, not exactly sure, but it's not too expensive. And you can do it. You can rebrand it. You can put up here Blueberry Markets, IC Markets, FB Markets. They give you branding. You can brand it. Yeah, so I think you just gotta have like a little common sense and you should be good, you know. Just be a little bit cynical, like understand that good things take time. Good things don't happen overnight. Every good thing took time for everybody. It's very rare to have somebody like overnight achieve greatness. And if they do, then it's not sustainable. There's always a learning curve. You know, you can't avoid the learning curve. So let's say you're a new trader and you have like one of these situations. You can look at there on YouTube as well, like these trader reactions to blowing accounts and that sort of thing. Is because like it's a bad habit you always come to, you know. So you get lucky once and maybe you think you can get lucky again, you know. That's where it gets you, and then that's when you usually lose your money. It's like that casino effect, you know. You go to the casino, first time you make like a good amount, right? And then next time you get a little bit smart about it and then you put more and then it takes the rest. One guy I've seen who got away with it is Roaring Kitty. Man, that guy is crazy. He's the only person I've seen get away with something so exponential like that. I think he put like $50,000 in GME when it was still at the bottom, and that thing skyrocketed. I think at one point he was worth like 10 20 million, 10 to 20 million dollars. Man, he cashed out. Amazing. And then he came back recently, sometime last year, for like a little pump and dump of GME. Yeah, a little pump and dump. Man, I think that stream had like 100,000 plus people watching. You know, because he made his millions, he disappeared for a while. I'm pretty sure he was safe after that. Like, he just lived a normal life. And then he saw an opportunity for a pump and dump scheme. So I'm going to show you on the chart over here. Here on GME, let's go on the weekly. So this is where Roaring Kitty got in. This was like around, it's like basically he was a beginner. Like he came in initially. He was the first person, the first people to see this. I still up to this day don't fully comprehend even why price went up. I think it was just because of why Bitcoin goes up, that there was a lot of hype towards it. You know, there's a lot of hype, but GME is just like a gaming shop which sells it's game, right? It's a game shop which sells physical CDs, which were already going out of style because, like, you know, you got PlayStation 2 terabyte consoles, everybody downloads the games digitally, it's more convenient. So it's like weird, like, why would game explode? You know, it's like game stores were like empty and people were not shopping anymore physically. I think it was something to do with I can't remember the technicals, but yeah, man, the guy caught this little bang over here. This was a Black Swan event. A little Black Swan event here, which was nuts. This is just complete nutty. He would be stupid to think he could replicate that. You know, look at this. He would be stupid to think he can replicate this because most of the time, again, it just consolidated. It consolidated. And then he came back for another pump and dump. There's a little tiny one right over here. There's a little pump and dump here. See, so there were like these two opportunities. You got one here. This is when he was making a comeback. So it's the same thing, like, you know, when people read Twitter and they read Trump's tweeting or like something like that, or like Elon Musk says something. There's the same thing, like we're hearing Roaring Kitty's coming back on the scene, so people go back on GME. So you can see how that's how human psychology actually plays into the market, and how we can actually, like, retail traders, in a sense, you know, create exuberance as well. Retail traders, or just, you know, traders in general, because it's like all manner of traders who, if there's an opportunity, it's an opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's in GME or soybean futures. Money is money, right? So if you see an opportunity and you have your edge there, then a lot of people will be looking to capitalize off. So you got one pump here, you got another pump right here. So, you know, you just got to be smart about it too. But if you think you're going to do 100 to 1 million, good luck. That takes like a crazy amount of consistency. I feel like you're gonna have a better chance just studying some nice little stocks like these. See what could potentially be the next Black Swan, and you know, you can line that up beautifully with macroeconomics as well. Like, you see what happened yesterday, correct? You've seen what happened yesterday with Trump and what's happening with Powell potentially getting fired. Like, you're more likely to plan like a smarter move to catch like this, and then have that exponential gain. And maybe just focus on such moves like that. Even if it means taking a Roaring Kitty route of risking, you know, pretty high percent, man. I think he was risking like maybe 80% of his entire net worth or something like that. He risks a lot of money. It does take a lot of risk, but you have to have some due diligence, some conviction. So yeah, there are those types of traders. I think if you're really into that whole idea of becoming rich quickly, like the 100 to 1 million, you got a better chance at looking at the macros. Also, that's what Roaring Kitty did. You know, it wasn't just a random thing. Like, there was actually some due diligence that he did. It's the same thing as in that movie where the real estate bubble was about to burst. And he went pretty much like all in on this thing. What was that movie called again? This movie was called The Big Short. Yeah, it's the same thing as The Big Short. Like, you can do this. Like, trust me, it's not as hard as it might seem to be able to catch like a certain macro driven moves like this. It just requires some patience, some focus. If you're a day trader, I feel like you're dealing with a lot of noise, a lot of scalping moves, so you're not in the most ideal situation as a day trader to plan yourself accordingly to something like this, you know, unless it just comes on your table. But it really isn't as crazy as it might seem if you're using the macros. I think what gamblers do for black swan events, gamblers usually pick like really random portfolio of things and they like invest into those things. But that's more risky to spread your risk, at least in my opinion, that much, than to pick something and then still manage your risk on it. Risk is awful. The Big Short, yes. You know, you can do it smart. You can do it smart. Like, you can have like 50% of your net worth into something that you really believe in. Yeah, just give it a shot. But yeah. Worst case scenario, you get stuck in drawdown, you know? Hopefully not lose it all. You know, this is not financial advice, just a young disclaimer. I just feel that's something that people don't talk about. Oh, he was doing exactly what you did with futures because he was seeing the move and then entered like it was live account. Wow, that's wild. Small group in the UK made 700 million on oil during COVID. Yeah, man, I remember that. I posted a picture of that on my Instagram. Like oil, I think this was on the weekend. Oil was a negative. It was a weekend. I took a picture of this on my phone. I posted on Instagram. I was like, man, oil is in negative. What the hell is this? Like, how can oil be negative? You know, and then price moved up, and then I heard that stories. Yeah, some people made money from that. A nice little black swan event. So you know how to position yourself next time COVID. Like for me, that year was insane, man. Like COVID, that's why I really started getting into fundamentals, because I was saying like oil's in negative. We got COVID going on. You know, that was one thing. Then I'm like, okay, all right. And then the next time, the Pfizer vaccine was created, and then I saw the pound just skyrocket up. You know, pound was going bullish. I'm like, okay. So something interesting is going on here. So now I was just thinking to myself, I remember that day I was thinking to myself, when the Pfizer came out and, you know, pound went up, I was like, man, now imagine the people who've been trading for like maybe 10 years or 20 or 30 years. Man, this is probably like child's work to them. You know, they know this from their experience. Like these moves that happen like 1 + 1 = 2 basically. So I was like, damn, all right. So if I lock in, I think, you know, understanding the fundamentals is going to be like a good edge for me, at least for those times that I really do want to take like a big risk, because, you know, it just made sense. Like sometimes, and then like just through the day, we would have Bailey used to, I think it was Bojo. I think Bojo used to speak a lot about the fisheries over there in the UK during that time. And man, every time like Bojo was speaking, you'd see like so much volatility on GJ. So I'm like, shit, okay, so this is a different kind of fundamental. When the guy's speaking, it's more of like, it's more choppy. It's like, you know, with the pound yen, it's more choppy. It's more choppy. I'm like, okay, so let's see how gold reacts. Then you're gonna pay attention to gold when politicians speak or when they're due to speak. Now then is when you start to understand such moves like this. And gold is a lot more cleaner, because, you know, gold is a safe haven asset, and a lot more people are trading gold, having gold in their portfolios. So, you know, gold is a beautiful pair. It's like more directional. It's more directional, more driven by exuberance. It's a lot more interesting. So I was like, okay, so like gold is a pair. Like if I'm ever going to do like a big risk, then I think gold is a pair. And, you know, it just takes time. This is a journey. No one teaches you this stuff, by the way. Like, I don't think no one taught me these things. Like, they're going to teach you in a very complicated way sometimes. You know, maybe they teach, but like in a very complicated way. You're going to start looking at COT data. You're going to start looking at smart money concepts. They teach you in a very complicated way. So I needed to find a way to make it not complicated. And that's the conclusion that I came to here. And that's why, you know, in yesterday's video, I also said that with Powell speaking, you know, potentially going up to like 3,400. That's simple. And, you know, price went up, blew through 3,400, continued moving up. Gold respects levels really well. Yes. Yeah, it does. It really does. Man, even on the 1 minute time frame, you see, look at how close I was to getting stopped out here yesterday. Wait, actually, I think I posted on Discord. Look how close I was to getting stopped out. Man, if I got stopped out on this, I'll be really bummed though, to be honest. Because I think it was gonna be, it was a nice move. Yeah, where is it? I think here. This was the, oh yeah, that was the wick. Then my stop was just about a pip below this area. I think roughly like around a pip or so, something like this. But, you know, this is something that happens over and over again. You know, this is also not surprising to me because, like, as you said, you know, gold respects levels. So that's why you got to focus on where your stop loss is. You know, if you have a correct stop loss, then it should be respected. You know, you can butcher the entry. You know, you can get in here, you can get in here, manage your risk, whatever, have the correct stop loss because you don't know how far price is going to move. You know, price can continue moving up. But obviously you want a better entry. You know, if you get too much of a bad entry, then I would just wait for retracement. But you see, right to the T over here. And this happens, you know, this happens not only once, it can happen over and over again. Then we create another consolidation here. Look, another accumulation. And then it broke out. And that was the one which actually started to follow through again. And then another one right here. Actually, a few scale-in opportunities. Scale-in opportunity over there. So you got 1, 2, 3. Console breaks. And price just kept moving upwards. Yeah, but Goldie here has come back down. We're down negative 0.30%. Maybe if we start breaking below 34.17, I'll be looking for some shorts. Gold like to retest levels. Risk is awful though. Yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, you really look into the way some traders trade, it's quite interesting. Yeah. I think what people do is they focus too much on the profit. You know, they see like Lambo Raul or Tory Trades, for example, make $100,000. But like, or like Q Banks, you know, make a lot of money. But they forget like the risk that they're taking. You know, it's really easy to overlook the risk. It is like interesting. Oh, you got the notorious Donovo. Our Chinese friend, as Raja likes to call him, Donvu. You look at these traders and you look at their risk, you know, very interesting. That means, you know, there's more than one way to trade the markets. You know, a lot of people are too fixated on just this one right way of doing it, but there's so many ways to trade the markets. For me personally, I like to keep my risk at a 1 to 1.5% ideally per trade. That's what I like to do because I am very risk averse. There was like 2 months in my trading journey. I was only trading like a couple of months where I was only trading 0.5% risk. I couldn't trade any more than this because I took so many losses that it just felt unproductive to be losing money risking more. Because, you know, at some point you have to be honest with yourself, like if you're profitable or not. You get to that point, it's like different phases, right? You have different phases of the learning journey. You get to that point where it's like, okay, now let me reduce my risk. So it allows me to be able to focus on price action. You know, if you reduce your risk, then you can focus on the candles. If you can't reduce your risk, then you focus on the profit, on the P&L. And that's what typically screws you. I only 1% risk after 2 SL. I close for the day with funded Koto. Cold blood. People need, remember, they are not the equity of the account. You win, you lose, you keep it straight. Yes, exactly. Cold blood. You win, you lose, you keep it straight. All you got to do is leave your emotions out of it. And then I think you're in it for the long run. Even if you look at performing at a high level, if you're trading at a high level, let's say at an institution, You are much better off if you can leave your emotions out of it and control what you can control. You know, don't focus on things that you can't control. See where can you get the most control. You know, then you can reduce a lot of stress. Hey, what's up, AD? What's up? Haven't been here in a long time. Everything okay? Nice to see you back, sir. Just focus on what you can control, which is your risk. You know, that's the only thing that you can control is your risk. So you can take all the risk that you want to take, but at least have some sense of control. You know, like some people, they wouldn't understand the risk that you're taking. So you can see maybe Tory Trade make $100,000, but she risks $50,000. Correct? She hypothetically risks $50,000, meaning worst case scenario, Black Swan event comes in. She gets a whip. That's $50,000. Worst case scenario, low probability event from happening, right? But that's still a probability. It can still happen. But you see, like, I guess based off of your own experience, you look at risk. You know, people look at risk very differently. Like for a businessman, risk looks very different from someone who takes a 9-to-5 job. You know, for a person who takes a 9-to-5 job, what this guy is doing seems very risky. But what this guy is doing from his perspective, because he knows what he's doing, is not as risky. You know, for you, like, flying a plane is risky, but for the pilot, flying the plane is not risky because he understands probabilities of accidents. He understands, you know, he understands the whole game of aviation. And for him, he perceives it very differently. That's why for us, we might say, oh man, you're a pilot. Aren't you afraid of this and that? You know, when you ask a pilot that, they don't really compute the same way you compute. So I think risk management is very, very discretionary. And that's kind of what I try and explain to people. You know, it's very hard for me to explain it when you're looking at risk reward purely for what it is. Then you're kind of like blocking yourself off again. You know, and at that point you can't teach. It's actually much harder to teach someone who's been trading for years than it is to teach somebody who's been trading for, let's say, a few months. Because somebody who's been trading for years, they have certain habits that they have like cleaned into, and it's very hard for them to let go of him. Same way, like if you work 9-to-5 for a very, very, very long time, maybe now you're in your 40s and you want to start a business. I guess you will have enough savings at that point, hopefully, that you can look at risk differently. But there's definitely going to be some habits that you will need to unlearn and relearn. Why didn't you take sell when price broke below EMA? I join now. Oh wow, this actually played out. This played out beautifully. Little swing entry model here. Yeah, this would have been a good sell. A break below support, stop loss above this area here to come to fill this range. But to be honest with you, I kind of lost my my trust on London session until I start to see more of this happen. You know, I want to see more of this happen. And if we don't start trending, if we don't start breaking, then I'm not interested. Because you see, the thing with the pre-New York and especially with London consolidates, the idea behind pre-NY into NY open is that since price hasn't moved during the London, that the pre-NY and NY have better chances of playing out. Like whatever direction it is that you're looking for, if it's going to be a buy or sell, they're going to have better chances of playing out if London just consolidated. But you see, right now, I think price overall is kind of bullish. So I would still love to be getting stuck into some potential buys. Gold might take out Asia session lows to pump. Yeah, we got Asia session lows here by 34.16. 34.16. We got Asia highs by 34.38. Are the BBA indicator works in gold? No idea. You think daily gonna flip NY? Yeah, I think so. I think that could be a possibility. We could see that flip. We could see the flippy. You took the sell? This was, oh, nice. I believe Thursday will form high of the week. Mantra for the day: why bother looking for a sale when gold is climbing up? Yep. I mean, if you get a sell, we're selling based off the idea that it would be maybe like a small push, you know, not a very big correction, but a small push, because then the daily will be trending. Like if you look at the way price is progressing here, so you'd still have to wait for confirmations. So you have a support that's being formed. So if we break this support, it's showing to us that, you know, potential for price to continue moving down. But actually, if gold is to move up here, we've already created daily lows. We should just hold this range. So I'm just going to call this for now a no trade zone. But we should just hold this range and then start moving up later. Yeah, so man, if you have like some savings or something in business and in trading, let's say if you have like a year's worth of emergency funds, you're gonna look at trading very differently, as opposed to if you don't have an emergency fund. You're going to rush the process a bit more. The same way, that's why I meant like in business, if you don't have emergency funds, then you're also not going to be in a very good headspace to think about running a business properly. So I think like before thinking even about quitting a job or a source of income, then you definitely need to see at least, I would say for me, a quarter, like 3 months of consistency in the market. Your first 25 trades will give you a hint. You know, if you can do that again, that's awesome. But I think if you can end the quarter off, you know, if you can end the quarter off profitable, it's all about confidence. You know, you just have to have that confidence in your system that it will perform, and just keep doing that. A quarter is kind of early, but it's still good. It's still good. Like, I guess it depends if you're young or older, or you got support systems and that sort of thing. Like when I took a leap of faith with trading, I already also had some kind of a, you know, a support system. So like worst case scenario, then I have some time to get back on my feet. But yeah, like once you do for a quarter, and let's say you're doing like a part-time job, and you know now your trading is starting to pay more than your part-time job, then you know that's gonna be awesome. But it needs to pay more than your part-time job or your full-time job. But you know, the good thing is it can at least take care of the smaller bills until then. It can take care of, you know, like a phone bill, electricity bill, you know, like small things here and there. I think it's pretty nice. Because when you look at the grand scheme of things, where can you invest, right? So this is not investment or financial advice, but I'm just saying in general, if you work like a 9 to 5, right? So you're thinking to yourself, how can I make more capital without necessarily starting like a whole infrastructural business where you need an office and employees and this sort of thing? You're always coming back to like, okay, so what can I do online that I can make a business? You know, and that's going to come back to your skill. Like where you should actually be saying, where can I get the skill to make money online? You know, what is a good skill to make money? So, you know, like trading is one of those avenues for sure. Because, you know, you're trading maybe like 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day. You do your business and that's it. And you don't have to focus on it anymore. I think that's what I like about it. Because, you know, when you look at something like dropshipping takes like a little bit more of running a business, correct? Like you're going to have sometimes customers send stuff back to you. You might have some parcels not fully delivered. There may be a few logistical issues. You know, you have to think about inventory, where you're gonna keep all that stuff as well. If you want to like scale and start selling, I don't know what it is. You know, there's a lot more moving parts when you come to drop shipping. I think trading is very nice. It's a very skill based endeavor. You know, it's very skill based. Like, even if starting from zero, if you give like a profitable trader starting from zero, he will still excel much more faster than, let's say, beginner trader starting from, let's say, even $50,000. You know, $50,000, this guy will be moving like this because he's already experienced, but the beginner trader is still going to be building the experience, right? So eventually they're going to cross path. They're going to cross the path, and this guy is just going to take off, whilst this guy is still kind of learning the process. Because, you know, it still takes time. It's not about how much money you have. You know, it's about the skill that you have. So the money is going to come. That's why I always say, like, people who rely on funded challenges just means that they don't have the skill. I have never met a profitable skill trader struggle and say, the reason I'm not making money is because I can't afford this $100 to get a funded account. I've never met a single trader who's profitable struggle with even $100 to get a funded account to build themselves upwards. So yeah, you know, like, these giveaways, they usually have been given away to traders who blow their accounts, unfortunately. Maybe some of them have like good runs, but it's like giving a Mercedes-Benz to a homeless guy. You know, you're going to give him the keys to a Mercedes-Benz. He's going to enjoy the car. You know, he might have some good runs here and there. But when it's time for maintenance or something breaks, you know, then it just doesn't make sense. You'd rather just abandon it. It's like supercars in Dubai. You see those graveyards of supercars? You know, it doesn't even make sense at some point to keep them for some people. Maintenance. Someone crash your Mercedes? Oh, man, that sucks. Who crashed your Mercedes? Your Merc. You know, they say in Germany, it's what's Mercedes. Oh, BMW. BMW is like BMW. It's not Mercedes, it's Mercedes. Something like that. I never knew that pronounced it BMW though. A girl in the gym? Man, why'd you give a girl in the gym your car to drive? You trying to impress her? Holy. Oh, backing up? Man, that sucks. That really sucks. And it's not like you're gonna make them pay, right? But it's kind of awkward. Yeah, I gave my friend once I gave my friend, okay, so I borrowed one of my mates has like a kind of a motocross. It's kind of like a motocross. And one time I had another mate over and I was like, hey, you want to learn how to ride this bike? So, you know, I put him on the bike, and man, that guy, he couldn't do it like the accelerator. So he did the accelerator into my car. So he crashed the bike into my car. It's the stupidest thing ever. Actually, I should have known better. He was a new guy on a motorbike. I think that was his first time on the motorbike, and he was directed exactly at my car. So, you know, sometimes I make that accident of pushing the thing too much and it crashed into my car. But it was just a small scratch, nothing too major. Yeah, but I don't like giving people my car to drive. Now, man, BMW in my country is Benvu. Oh, someone says here, you deserve it, brother. You don't give your car to a stranger. Yeah, BMW. I think BMW has a lot more problems. They're more difficult to maintain than a Merc. There might be like a small little potential for a move up here. Got about 32 pips. 32 pips. In China, BMW is Bauma. Volkswagen is Volkswagen. Yes. I mean, a beginner stage, exactly my situation. Yeah, I think then the best thing you can do is, instead of depositing what you can afford, I mean, like depositing a high amount, I would start with a small amount, because it doesn't matter if it's like you're risking $50 or $100 per trade or $1,000 per trade. It's like, if you can make money with 50, then you can make money on 100 or 1,000 plus. You know, that's what I would say. And this is not financial advice, but that's what I would do to mitigate my risk. Because remember, it's a skill-based thing, right? It's a skill-based thing. So you got to pick whether you want to pay like a higher tuition fee or a lower tuition fee. So I feel like a good balance is somewhere where it's like enough money that it makes sense for you, like you feel invested, and it's not too little that you don't care about the trade. Because if you don't care about the trade, then, you know, sometimes you got to think a bit differently about it. Oh, this is a dent. Damn. Can't you pop this thing out? Like put some hot water on there, like suck it out. Oh. Oh man, that sucks. Look at this. Holy. So what happened with this guy? Oh, it's so plastic? Oh, damn. See how big this range is. Here's like 33, stop loss about what, 39. Goldie is just GJ is massively accumulating. Oh, this is your, so she crashed into you, into this car. That's a problem with, that's a problem. Like, you know, basically a lot of people, especially in America, they take these really big loans. They know how to buy Mercs, and like they take these really big loans, right, to buy cars. They don't pay them off. And the worst part is when another driver hits you. You know, like that just sucks. That sucks. Is you can't, no matter how good of a driver you are, there's always somebody out there. Always somebody out there fixing to ruin your day. You know, cars are like they're terrible return on investment, just generally speaking. Like if you don't really need it, then it is like, if you look at it for what it is, it's a bad investment. If you don't need it. You know, I got some friends living in Germany. They're working in the health field. They're actual doctors. And just because the public transport is so good, you know, they sold their cars. And these people are making like six-figure jobs. There's a six-figure earning jobs. But they still sold their car. You know, I guess it's just a mentality thing, you know. It's a mentality thing, the way you live life. You know, if you live life just to show off to people, then you know that's something that hopefully you're doing consciously and not unconsciously, like, because that just means that you're trying to compensate for something else, you know. So I like people like Warren Buffett, man. Warren Buffett, no matter how rich that guy gets, he never like he's really got his head on straight. You know, it's the same thing in the trading industry. Like, trading industry feel like they gotta prove something, so they're gonna do certain things. They're gonna do certain things to show off. But that's not the case, man. There's so many profitable traders who are not on social media. You know, just slowly grinding away. I think that small portion that you see on social media that advocate such things, these are almost like this is just marketing, you know. This is just marketing. But there's so many traders profitable who are not on social media. I mean, we've got a bunch of really good traders here as well in the Discord, you know, performing quite well. You see you guys send really nice trades in, and yeah, it's good to see. It's really good to see. I think, you know, once you start becoming profitable, you kind of want the silence, because there's a lot of noise that you go through to get to that stage. So you do enjoy the silence. The gold triangle formation on the weekly time frame. You do enjoy the silence of just grinding. And there will be signs for your friends and family. There will be signs. Makes sense, because when you use our TetraFX, you see the accident there. Look at this thing, man. It's just completely moving up here. Such a nice day so far for these swing entries. I think it's because price is in a pretty big range. There's a range here of like 134 pips. So it's just bouncing in between these levels. So you got to sell here, you got to buy here. Daily is still down 0.17%. You want to see price... man, I don't know. It's like, I would want to see price come down, to be honest. I feel like it's easier for it to come down for me to hit like a daily trend. Because right now we don't have a trend. If we move up, we'll need the daily to reflip first, which is going to be a lot of work there. It's like 34, 39-ish. It's nice having money in the bank, no pressure to spend it. Yes. You know, like when I talk about these things, I talk about them from a very like conservative mindset. You know, for some people it's fine. You don't have to have the conservative mindset. Like people making money, you know, making money and you can buy whatever it is that you want. At the end of the day, it's your money. But I'm talking from a very conservative mindset. Like I've always been thinking like the best way to spend on luxury is to have that passively. Like if you can, first of all, you know, if you can just put that stuff for now onto the side and have all that extra cash to invest in something else that can give you passive income, that at a later stage you're having these things that you're not paying with earned income, I think that is the goal. You know, but hey, if you're making money and you want to buy these things earlier, you know, it's all up to you what you want to do. But if we're just talking about the way the game can be really played like in a very mature way, at least that's why I like to think about it. Passive income is the way to go. It just takes a discipline. It just takes discipline that when you're making money that you're not spending it. You know, it's much easier to spend it. And most people who are achieving this are people who, again, comes back to the skill. Are you married to the skill enough that you're not even noticing that your bank account digits are going up? You understand? Like people who chase the money, they never make the money that they want to make if you're chasing. But the people who really have it, they don't even notice that their bank account is just skyrocketing up like this. Because they're just focused on the skill. And then, you know, one day they're like, oh shit, okay, you know, this looks pretty good. Then they just keep doing this because you're falling to the level of your habits, not rising to the level of your goals. I really like that quote. So let all this just be a byproduct. Whatever it is, your wants and needs, just let that be a byproduct of the skill. Because I remember when I started making money in trading, my first instinct was to buy a Rolex. My first instinct. And you know, at the same time, it's like, why are you doing this? So I had to audit my thinking. I was thinking, why am I doing this? And the reason I was doing it is because I came from a place where on YouTube, everybody was doing it. So, you know, I thought it was a normal thing to do. But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, you know, I could spend this $10,000 here on this stupid ass watch, you know, that I've actually worked to get that. You know, it doesn't make sense. It's like earned income. Or I could just take this, reinvest it into my account, and then just increase my potential gains. Because, you know, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. What we see on social media, I think, is a lot of richness. You know, you can be rich, but are you truly wealthy? You got your life in order. You know, you're not doing things for other people. You're balanced. Hey, older you get, you gotta go family. You know, you're taking care of your people. That's really what it comes down to in the end. In America, if you make more than 6-figure, you don't buy a luxury car, you give the money in tax to IRS. How much is a tax in America like? I think in Germany, what is it? Like 35%? I think it's like 35%. Tall trader knows, probably. And last time I checked, it was about like that much. Same in Portugal, if you buy a 50k car is considered luxury car, you can be investigated if you don't have the matching income. Yeah, 50k for sure. That would be luxury. Heck, I would even say probably like somewhere between 35, 40k even. You're already getting into, I think with 30k, you can get an entry level luxury car. 30k. Having time, money, and only a few attachments eases your mind, and that's the ultimate thing. Yes, sir. Austria, 27.5%. Oh, not bad. 26.375% tax on trading. Oh, and 42% on labor. Oh. It can be an uptrend because Elliot's theory is hardly supporting. I don't know about what Elliot is thinking about this range over here. But I think price is just moving sideways right now. Got a couple nice swing entry models that just played out. No follow-throughs though. Still waiting on them. Never done became, and I wish it was yesterday. I have to share my cars with my wife so I don't buy anything expensive. Yeah, you might get rammed into one day, or your car might get rammed. Man, this is so annoying. Imagine, what did you say? This happened in the gym? Imagine being in the gym to come out to find someone hit your car like this. And it's like, it looks like, why did this even happen here? Like, if she was moving out, is it the back of the car? Oh, no, that's the front of the car. Yeah, exactly. So if she was driving, how the hell does that, how do you even get into an angle like that? That's my question. What the hell was going on here? Was she driving in from the road backwards? Or was she coming out like this? Oh, maybe trying to turn the corner here, huh? She was trying to turn the corner here, but she went too far in and then she came back? Yeah, that's a bit weird. Go on away. All right, so man, this range has got filled here. Back to the highs. Probably just gonna retrace from some profit taking up over here by 34.28. Ooh, Goldie. GG Console looks good. Let's see what the daily is doing. Are we hit like 200? No, we're still below 200. So GJ has not moved even yesterday with all the commotion. Got like a small range here. This is like a volume-based play, I guess. Like price is just distributing from this general region, potentially trying to create new highs. Daily is currently up like 0.27%, and there's like a trying to break above this 8 SMA here, but GJ is stuck in a really goat shit area. Very, very goat shit area here. There's massive accumulation. Little bit of a fake out down over here, back into the range. Yeah, this is that accumulation that's breaking 200, chat. So I think this looks like the cleanest perspective here. So you see how it's hovering right underneath 200. This is the last times that I think GJ is gonna be in this zone, and then price is gonna start breaking from this area soon to 200, breaking above 200, and then continue to move up. Bunch of rejection wicks, like it's super wicky here on the HTF. If you're trading something like a higher time frame, it's basically impossible to trade GJ on a higher time frame. It's pretty hard unless you're just buying the lows and selling the highs. But I think this could be the spring or the manipulation here that can drive this above 200. I think once we get above this level, GJ should be moving really nice. You know, you have so much clean range here up towards 203, 500 psychological mark. So yeah, I think that's gonna look pretty good. Finally, GJ can start moving here. But I'm really happy Goldie is moving. At least on Goldie, we broke out of the consolidation. This whole gulag area over here. It's like the market was waiting for Trump. It was waiting for something here to happen, to break above these highs. Because this is an area we struggled. You know, this was quite an important zone that we couldn't break above this zone here. Rejected multiple times and then boom. UJ and GU struggling to break their levels, and we might see some TPs on gold now. You know, for me, it's always so interesting. I'm just going to share with you guys this like an open mind. But for me, it's so interesting how the market is always anticipating something. You know, it's always anticipating something as if it knows what the next move is. I found this to be a recurring theme over the years. It's quite an interesting paradox. I don't know, paradox or... Yeah, this is very, very funny over here. It does certain movements. It behaves always in a certain way when it's expecting something. And that something is like sometimes can be a fundamental that seems random. You know, like maybe Trump might randomly say something, but like how random is that? That maybe Trump says something and then the market moves up. Or is it, for me, I'm thinking like if I had all the resources and millions of dollars, I'll probably have like some kind of system, a system where we have different probabilities for macro events of certain things that, Trump might say, and then that could affect the market. And let's have like a sort of like a tree of paths that certain decisions can go. And then you have the underlying, like you have one which is more streamlined stuff, like the rate cuts, like the foundation. The foundation maybe revolves around certain key elements that are driving the market currently, like Powell, the rate cuts, the geopolitical tensions. Those are always going to be somewhat key fundamental. But just like, it's going to be a key fundamental in a different environment. A rate cut is not always just a rate cut. It's also factoring like other environmental effects that could have on the market, if you know what I mean. It's different from like when the Ukraine-Russia war started to, for example, like what the Ukraine-Russia war is now. So there's like a small dilution over there. So like some kind of system like this, I'm pretty sure this exists in a way that the markets are always somehow anticipating these moves before they happen. It's like saying, but I guess with gold, it's a bit more predictable because of the way the macro fundamental space is generally going. If you've been paying attention to it, then I think you know what I mean. Yeah, but damn, I think you can go far down this rabbit hole when you start putting macros into play and you're not just looking at the technicals. I think a lot of traders, what they do is they focus way too much on these candlesticks that they forget what's actually moving the market. They're forgetting about real life events that actually create these pushes. And those real life events, like someone asked me if they need to learn fundamentals in my Instagram, and I said like, okay, you don't need to learn fundamentals to be profitable, right? But it's important that you do, because if you understand fundamentals, you are understanding for example, if you're a cameraman, you're understanding how your camera works inside and out, right? So you're gonna have much better photos or videos than the next guy, for example. So you can have much better confidence in your equipment, for example, that you know exactly what it is that you're doing with it, as opposed to someone who just has a camera and then if something goes wrong, they gotta like figure it out. So if you understand the fundamental space and price moves up, you kind of already know why price is moving up. So you don't have to be confused. A lot of people are too confused. They're too confused, like, oh, why is price moving up? But if you follow the fundamentals on a day-to-day basis, then you kind of like understanding your instrument a lot more better and you're a lot more locked in. But that's why it's like, now I'm thinking like, always, life is a game of elevation. We're always trying to get better and better and better. So, at some point you get to this point where you have like a roadblock, correct? Because it's like, now to get to the next level, you just have to put yourself in the shoes of working at an institution to really understand. So like right now I'm at this level, and it's a lot of like wishful thinking, because we can't get that access. As much as you think you're gonna get that access, it's very difficult to get that access without actually talking to somebody who works at that level. So yeah, that's quite nice. Like you always want to get better at whatever craft it is that you do, correct? Always trying to get better. Ask ICT. ICT doesn't know nothing. I've never heard ICT. I think I've never heard him even speak about news once. Like really speak about news. Does he even do this? Does he speak about news really? Like, does he keep up with latest events? Like there's always a change. Like, yesterday we had Trump say something, market moves. Does ICT actually follow it like this? Gold dipped to around 34.20 per ounce Wednesday. Say President Trump announced a massive trade deal with Japan, saying US will impose 15% reciprocal tariffs, lower than the previously threatened 25%, while Japan will open its market to more US goods. Now, Japan's a sick country. It's a sick country to travel to because it's affordable for tourists and foreigners. All this keeping their rates down. The agreement follows similar deals with the Philippines and Indonesia, lifting hopes for further agreements before the August 1st deadline. Oh, so let's see. Attention also turns to next week's Federal Reserve meeting, where rates are expected to stay on gold, with markets anticipating possible cuts in October. Yeah, in October is the month. We're always getting these towards the end of the year here with Powell. So we got on our Federal Reserve. We got a next FOMC meeting here in about 7 days. And they're looking to keep rates the same, 95.3%. September, we got 58% easing. But most likely, I agree with what's been written there. I would also say most likely October. You know, it gets a bit easier to speculate the closer you come towards the end of the year. We're most likely going to get October. Here is at 79% easing. 79%. And December is at 93%. Maybe this is going to be that one trade that I just want to hold for the sake of it. It would be a nice little Christmas gift from Powell. Wouldn't it, chat? If we can get rate cuts in October and get stuck in positions for December holidays. That would be nice. Like a real bumper clot move. You know, a real bumper clot. I think yesterday's daily candlestick, what percent do you think this is? Let's see, this is about a 500 pips. Not even 2%. Probably like like around 1 point something percent. South of 1 point something percent. So it'd be nice to get a real bumper clot move at 2%. I don't think I've seen 2% in quite some time here in gold. And you're gonna know. You're gonna know. I tell you how you're gonna know is because once the rate cuts are been put in, not on the day necessarily that the rates are gonna be cut. Although you can get some nice volatile pushes, crazy swings. I would say carrying over to the next day. When pre-London is starting to move like this, when London is moving like this, when New York starts moving like this, heading to that 2%, then you're like, okay, you know, I'm going to take my buy here, and this is going to be like a Christmas gift. So I'm just going to hold this trade. Boom. Bumper clot. Yesterday was a bumper clot though. Actually, if I actually held this trade, that was insane. I think that was like a 1 to 30 or something. Yeah, like a 1 to 30. That's an insane move. But at least like towards the end of the year, you can look at your yearly progress and then say, okay, you know, like my year is going to end like this. So this is going to be like my yearly performance. So, you know, I can take that risk. Again, driving back to the reason, you know, when we had this conversation about GME, when we were talking about GME and how Roaring Kitty and these Black Swan events like oil and that sort of thing. It's like maybe give yourself, you know, few chances like that and then maybe increase your risk. So maybe I'm going to do like even a 10%, you know, a 10% trade and then just hold it after the rate cuts have been announced on gold and then just see if I can really scale that up. And I think that becomes really quite enjoyable, you know, and then still manage your risk. Remember, your best trades never give you drawdown. So once it starts getting into profit, just like the previous 2 days, stop loss to break even and just watch the candlesticks continue to move up. And just like set and forget. Put your take profits where you need them to be and then just forget about it. Then it becomes like a risk-free trade. You're saying you can just hit that every once in a while. You could have hit it yesterday too, but you know, every once in a while, when you're convinced about the macroeconomic space, then you're going to have like a very nice edge for yourself. I think Warren Buffett says is happy if he makes like 2 good decisions in a year. Yeah, he says they use news as a smoke screen to reprice. You know, sometimes it could be pricing in. Sometimes they could use news. Let's say if we're expecting gold to move upwards, you can get price go down first, price in the move to the upside. So I think I know about pricing in. I don't think the market is always there to trick you, you know. I think ICT makes it sound like the boogeyman is out to get you. I even look at it yesterday. What do we expect yesterday? What we expected is what you got. Usually when we talk about macros, the market should drive in a certain direction. That's what the whole idea behind the Big Short as well. You know, the guy did his macro fundamental due diligence, and it should, technically and economically speaking, react in a certain way, correct? So it's not always like a boogeyman who's out to get you. Yeah, the boogeyman. The next 4 hours is one where it flies up. It follows the last couple of days. Yeah, 4 hour. Oh, yes. It could just be that 4 hour support being formed to continue to drive up. Something like this. That could be the case. And then just skyrocket upwards like that. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Thing is, they also got a really nice range on the left-hand side here too. Break below support. Fill that area up. Well, not the whole thing, but maybe just like a small retracement. But definitely looks... Definitely, I would say like if I can get a buy today, at least you're on the right side of the market. It's always about being on the right side of the market. That's why I like also this trade, we're on the right side of the market. If this was a sell idea, then I would feel a little bit more scared about it. But we were on the right side of the market. So I think definitely the buys, you're going to feel much more confident about the buys. Especially if you're trying to get a runner. So you look at it from this perspective, right? If you take a sell over here and you get a profitable trade, you know, awesome. But what's the probability of that running to the probability of this running, for example? You know, obviously you're going to feel more confident with the buys because of the overall direction, correct? So yeah, I think that's the idea here. See, it came back here, maybe potentially even retesting the entries again, like we speak about. Markets love to retest. So potential retest. If it wants to keep moving up, this could be that retest to drive people out of the market before you start getting price action like this. Break above resistance and then continue to flip on the daily. Yeah, but for right now, accumulating. We're accumulating, getting ready for a big move. Maybe another bomber clot today.
Bomber clot!
Exactly what it did yesterday and the day before. Yes. It's a repeatable pattern here. London consolidate, pre-NY continuation. And that's what trading is, really. Repeatable patterns. Finding your entry, finding your edge, and just doing that over and over again. That's what success is. That's what consistency. Like, just find what works and then just have the stoicism to do it over and over again. And slightly get better each time you do it. Or just audit yourself. Every time you take a trade, you always have to audit yourself. Like, how was I thinking about this trade? Was I following my rules? Was I confident in this? Second guessing myself? You know, what was that gut feeling? You know, because sometimes you get these feelings that you can't control all the time, but it's something you can work towards a little bit better. So for example, you know, like how people say, oh, you're so brave. Like, but you know, even sometimes when something looks brave doesn't mean that the person was not afraid. You know, it might seem like that, but that fear is just like a human nature. So it can be something else that you can work on. Because, you know, sometimes that fear, it like plays against you, you know, if it gets you in the right conditions. Like if you get into a losing streak and you still have that underlying fear that, you know, you still feel, but you're trying to lie to yourself and trick your brain that you're not fearful, it's still something that you can work on to really like iron that out. Because that's what the trader's journey is going to look like, especially from the beginning. You know, when you start losing money, man, my hands used to shake. When I used to take positions, I used to get so freaking nervous. You know, I used to get so freaking nervous about my trades. But nowadays, man, that feeling, I've worked on it. I've ironed it out to the point that I don't feel it anymore at all. So I'm more speaking to those people who are just starting out for the first time, who are very risk conscious. You know, it happens. It happens. It's important to talk about it. Because, you know, when I was dealing with it, man, no one was talking about it. It just felt like everybody was like a degenerate, you know, like everybody was just happy to lose money. Like, nah, man, like I don't like losing money. So surely you guys must be feeling some sort of way, but no one's talking about it. So, you know, these are like certain things you got to deal with yourself. You know, if you're a very risk averse person, and then you got to have some certain rules, like only taking 1 or 2 trades a day and then looking at the sort of risk that you're taking. Maybe it's a bit too much. You know, maybe for you it might seem like, I think at that time I was trading like $50 a trade, and psychologically I was like, you know, $50, maybe it's not too much. I can risk $50, but the way my body was reacting to $50 was a different story, you know. So that means that I was not thinking clearly. So my ego was telling me $50 is nothing. But when I was taking the trade, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was like, oh man, this is a risk. You know, you don't think about the candlesticks anymore. You're just thinking about potentially losing money. So once I reduce that to, you know, like let's say $25, then you really start to see the difference in your trading. That's what I'm going to say. You really start to see the difference. I made peace with getting the loss. Yeah, exactly. And then making peace with that too. Makes you a stone cold killer. You know, fear the man who has less to lose. Same structure as yesterday, but we know market, know what we know now. Yes. Makes you into a stone cold killer. There's a little liquidity grab here on a GJ. You know, break below support. Grab of orders right here. Consolidate. Little liquidity grab. Start skyrocketing upwards. That shit looks nice. Then I would say directional bias on pound yen. Definitely bullish on the day. That's what I expect. Let's see. Currency strength meter here. Yeah, dollar weakness. Super weak. Yen is really weak. Pound is also quite weak. So it's consolidating. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Makes sense that price consolidates. Yeah, I think I got lazy towards the end of the month here. Because this should actually be at 40%. But I've been sleeping in quite a bit. I think I went too hard in the beginning of the month. So instead of taking my usual 3 trades per day, we've been like hovering around maybe like 2 trades. 2 trades per day. Or 1 or 2 trades. Man, we went hard in the beginning. Holy. That actually taxes on you. Trading actually taxes on you. I don't know how. Because I'm only on the charts maybe like 5 or 6 hours a day. It's actually quite taxing. Yeah, but let's see how much time we got left here. 1 week, 1 more week. Maybe I can get to 40. That would be a record for me. I'm currently at my record. I'm at my peak. My last month here in March was 34.13, so I'm just here by 34.95. I think I could push through it. Oh man, this is gonna bug me. This is gonna bug me if it stays here at 34. Damn. Yeah, we gotta see. We gotta see. Wow, this is an awesome trade. Very nice. Break of support over here. Stop loss above. Caught your sell. SMA confluence. Close below support for risk management. 0.5 SL to BE. Close 50 SMA. Very well done. See, lol. Hold it or not. 1W, 1L. 34.16. See, 34. Damn, this is... Are you still holding this? Right to the top of the range here. How much you say you held yesterday, Ricardo? 150 pips? Where'd you hold 150 pips from? Was it from our initial entry or did you get another entry? From our entry? Oh, nice. Where is this? 150. Were you holding because of the whole Powell speaking thing? Or is it like a lucky hold? Or like you knew Powell was speaking, so... I think it's a difference. Definitely there's a difference between getting like a lucky hold and then holding because you know of a certain event coming out. Because if you know of the certain event, that actually, you know, that's a lot more impressive because now you're really you're more in sync with the market. So that's pretty nice. If you're just holding randomly, it's a bit hard because most of the time that you'll find yourself in situations like this where price just consolidates and then it's like harder to hold a trade. Right? So if you're expecting like, let's say some kind of like pushes from the London session, we know historically the London is not following through. So if you do get a hold and it just starts moving like that, that's like more of a lucky hold, I would say. But if something's like more premeditated like this, that builds that skill for actually holding trades. So it's going to happen once, you're going to feel confident about it, and then it's, you know, you're going to have a better chance at holding your next one. But for people who are not good at building that skill, what happens is sometimes they get lucky like this and get a few holds. But when price starts to reverse, they really start second guessing themselves to see if it's just going to be like a technical correction, you know, price moves up and then it starts to move down. So it's like you're kind of in the dark, you know, you have your pushes, but you're like, can this really start to move up? And you know, once price starts to do that, you're going to start mismanaging your trade. You know, you're going to start trading too early and that sort of thing. So I think that's the reason. If you ask me why people struggle with holding trades, that is the reason why people struggle with holding trades. Because they're not locked into the macros. Because this is random. Like London session, man, I doubt this thing is going to follow through. That's why you have situations like this happen usually. Like price breaks above a range and then it comes back in. Breaks below here and then it comes back in. And it just holds. Pre-New York, and then it starts to move. And that, I think for today, that's going to be more of technical and continuation from yesterday's exuberance. Is if we're getting a move upwards, it's a bit of a different environment for that hold, right? We're just expecting a bullish continuation from yesterday. Whereas yesterday was having more factors to drive price up. So low-key, just, you know, just giving some tips here, especially if you're trying to pass a certain challenges. That's kind of the stuff that you want to be looking at. You don't want to be getting lucky. The last thing that you want to do in trading is to get lucky. That's a bad habit that, yeah, you know, like you get lucky once and it's not a good thing. It's actually a bad thing. I set my TP to 150 and closed my eyes with SL at BE. Yeah, TP 150. Get the trading view alert on. And then just wait. Wait to hear that little ting. That alert go off. I got my alert here set as a cash register. So, you know, we're just going to hear it on cha-ching. Preferably maybe set like... The other thing is if you set an alert for stop loss and I mean for take profit and BE, oh man, then it's like you hear that sound and you wonder which one got triggered. But if you just set one, then you know take profit got hit. So instant good mood. It's like a dopamine. You know, you're watching TV and then you hear that cha-ching. It's like an instant dopamine effect. You're like, yes, take profit just got hit. But if you set one for break even as well and you're watching TV and you hear cha-ching, you're like, oh man, what's going on here? Vig, how long you been trading and how big much loss before you can say that you're already profitable? Because right now you lose so much. Because right now lost so much. I've been trading for like 5 years. And it took me a bit of a year to become consistently profitable. Yeah, so I'd say it took me just like maybe a year and a few months. Maybe like a year, and within that first quarter, I was already kind of like properly breaking out of that break-even phase. But if you think you're losing too much, then you got to focus more on your winning trades. Because, you know, there's always a reason why you're taking a losing trade. So focus on your winning trades so you can try and replicate those. That's what I think really also helped me. And I think that helps a lot of people get out that also that break-even phase. Focus on your... It's sometimes not even technically based. It can just be psychologically based. So maybe you're just over trading. Maybe remove that additional trade that's making you having a profitable day becoming a losing day. What the hell? Like, we got trading view here is frozen. Look at this. 5-minute candlestick's frozen. Is that the same for you guys? My 15 minutes working fine. I think. 15 minutes frozen. 5 minutes frozen. My broker's moving. This is weird. Let's see. Owanda. Owanda's... Oh, we just got the candle up here now. Mine is okay. Oh, yours is okay? Maybe it was just me. Yeah, we just sometimes get like glitches in the matrix. I have TradingView linked to my smartwatch, so alerts. I can write a note and it comes on the screen. Ah, nice. I think my overtrading makes me lose a lot. Thanks, Vic. Welcome, welcome. I'm stuck in psychological base, 10 trades in a row losses, like the market knows when I'm in. It could just be the environment that the trades are being taken in. It could be just the environment. There's sometimes, like we speak about this sometimes, where the session itself is just like, you can see, for example, for something like the London could just consolidate. You know, it could be the pre-London, it could be the Asia session. There's certain periods when it's just like not a favorable environment for whatever it is you're trying to do. That's also normal. Then that's usually when those clusters of losing trades come. It's usually good to take like a break from the session if it's getting too abnormal. You know, like for me, if I'm seeing like, let's say 3 losses in a row is normal. But if I'm getting more than 3 losses in one particular session, like if it's a back-to-back thing, then man, I think there's something that you have to look into there. You know, that's going to be the outlier. So you're going to look at that and say, okay, maybe I'll focus on a different session for now, or I'll just wait and be a bit more cautious. And then eventually it goes back to normal. What time is it now? It's 5. Well, 1 hour away from the pre-New York time, pre-NY. See how Audi's... I think the 4 hours about to close. Got about 1 more hour. Potentially this 4 hour creates a support, then the next one continues to move up bullish. And you know what else could help? If you're really feeling like that, then you should limit it to like 1 trade a day. Limit it to 1 trade a day. At least that's going to sort of disrupt the losing streak. If let's say you get lots of back-to-back and you're taking more trades in a day, you can actually disrupt the losing streak by focusing on 1. Because what I've noticed, like some days that I take a loss and I take another trade, then for some reason it has a higher probability of becoming a loss. And it could just be something to do with the market environment on that day. So if you take a loss here and then, you know, go back to the next day, take 1 more trade, you have a better chance of disrupting it. So it looks something more like this. So you see how that changes over here? And then you can give yourself a little bit more space towards the next moves. But if you do it all in 1 day, then it's going to look like a better chance of something like this. Could Goldie be trying to re-break? Can we get the volume in to break above resistance? But that's exactly the point. You have 2 losses in a row and now all misbehavior and behavior kicks in. Yes, because we don't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose. So when we take a loss, it's like that feeling is magnified. You know, and then you're gonna start to misbehave. Revenge trade. Yeah, once you start to revenge trade, it just goes downhill. And that's proven by the data here. I think these trades, there's some trades here I revenge trade and they're like back-to-back losses. I rarely ever win a revenge trade. Daily is about to flip here. Negative 0.06%. Just need to push out many more pips is this. Like about 16, 17 pips. Ooh, we might actually get a really nice continuation here. Because I'm anticipating a 3470 for the end of the day. At least 3470. And then 3500 wrap up the week. But yeah, Luke mentioned that, you know, we also have a resistance over here. So, you know, just kind of keep in mind. But I think with the macro, with the news, we should be able to get through this level. You know, hopefully this is enough of a reason to break above resistance points. Because, you know, last time we were retesting these highs, there was nothing at that point. Like, remember, like we created the new higher high. And then this is when, like, price kind of died. Like, we didn't have any sort of fundamentals. So there was no reason to re-break these highs. Correct? But this time, we've gotten some fresh new fundamentals, some fresh differences in the market to see if we can actually get through it. And we're so close to it right now. In line with what's been happening like the previous 2 days, we're so close to it. So I think there's a higher chance that we can break above it. As opposed to these previous times here. Oh, yeah, but guys, nothing on this channel is financial advice. You know, if you gotta talk about tax and that sort of thing, definitely get some advice from a professional. This is all educational purposes. You hear me, YouTube? Someone's gonna report my channel. Oh, Vic is giving tax advice here. No, I'm not. You gotta do what you gotta do with your own financial situation. This is not financial advice. See the 15-minute, 15, 30-minute. Yeah, there's a little bit of clean range up there. Hourly wick fill. That's probably what it's targeting. If we can stop breaking above this zone, we have a potential hourly wick fill here. This is about like 80 pips. 80 pips for price to move up there. See the 4 hour. 4 hours about to close in 55 minutes. That's actually the target. Like, if it doesn't start moving now, this would be like the pre-New York target. Just to at least fill this range here. Now, it's slightly different from yesterday. I would not expect this much exuberance as we had yesterday. Because in reality, nothing much has really changed. Correct? Like, you got Powell come on, you know, like Trump was speaking. But nothing has... I don't think nothing has really changed. If this has to more do with Powell getting out of office in the next 8 months and rate cuts coming in, it's still going to take 8 months. It's still going to take 8 months unless the only driving factor beyond this point, 37 is the tariffs which are supposed to be taking effect here on August 1st. So that's going to be next week Friday. So man, next week Friday is going to be such a freaky Friday. Holy man. Because next week Friday is when we're going to have the, I believe that's going to be the non-farm payrolls. Yeah, we're going to have the non-farm payrolls and the tariffs take effect. Holy. You just got to have your popcorns ready for this day. Yeah, this is going to bring in volatility for sure. NFP and tariffs. You might see yourself in a situation like this where you can get into a trade like this and then price can just continue to move upwards. But definitely, or let's say 99% that price is going to move up. Tariffs coming up in August and we got the non-farm payrolls. I was in 99% price is going to move up. You know, that's my opinion. I think we're going to move up here. So we're definitely going to see 3,500. Or rather, I would expect that we'll be seeing 3,500 by the end of, I would want to say this week, but you know, if we're going to stretch it out, definitely by the end of the last week over there. Next week. We got NFP twice this month. Show me, you take the trade. You can go on my channel. Go on my channel here and you can watch my trades. If you want to see a trade being taken. Because right now it's just like, you know, it's just waiting. You just gotta wait. You gotta sit on your hands. Come here, watch my videos. I can't move the market. The market has to move when the market wants to move. If the market was moving right now, then I could take a trade. If it's not moving, then I can't take a trade. What can I do? I'm looking for a very specific thing here. You can't do anything. Gold dips on US trade deals. Let's see anything else. 2 hours ago. Gold futures trade sideways after multi to medium turn. So given consistent geopolitical and macroeconomic uncertainty, gold is well placed to continue serving as a safe haven asset for both institutional and individual investors. Awesome. The market is moving. Yeah, it's moving, but it's not moving the way I want it to move. I wanted the daily to reflip, maybe come up here a bit more. I told you, I'm being very cautious about the London session now. The only time... Wait. Exactly, it's really flirting with the idea to move up there towards, like, you know, 34.40. Maybe nice little round number over here, 34.40. Nothing else in between. Rebreak these week highs. See, 30-minute. Nice little break above resistance. Small little shotgun entry. But I think the range is too small. 50 pips. 35 pip range. On the 5-minute, it would be cleaner above here though. Like a 5-minute break above like a 34.31. Up towards that resistance. You know, like the market needs to prove to you. It needs to prove to you where it wants to head right now. Because previously, we had a break of resistance and price pull down. You know, we just got another break of resistance. Price could still pull down in here. We're trading below this resistance by 34.32. What am I saying to GJ? Yeah, GJ was trying to break out, but it looks like no follow through as well. You know, it's kind of like flopped over here. With London session consolidated. it had like a break of structure. We had a small accumulation here. It broke above, but now it's back into the range. Lack of volume. So let's look at GJ on 15 minute. Man, 15 minute. We got like some kind of support over here. You have a support here. You have resistance up here. You got like a potential left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Candlestick start to break below like this. Yeah, I'll be expecting price maybe to come down there on GJ. But mostly I want to see price move up because, you know, we're holding right below 200 psychological mark. I think the overall, the higher time frame direction is, I feel like it's leaning more towards the upside. But if we're just speaking about the current structure, right now it's like accumulating. It's accumulating. This could even be like a small little fake out here, trying to pull price upwards. But then that means price shouldn't be closing below the support and re-breaking these lows. So if you're looking at this from like a 30-minute perspective, we re-break those lows. You got like really nice range here. It's about like a 60. Holy, a 60 pip range on GJ below the support. This wick on the 30-minute. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty clean. It really does look like an accumulation. But if this was like on the 1 minute, these are the kind of accumulations I don't really like because of how long the wick is. The accumulation breaks are much nicer with like tighter wicks like this. You know, if it's a long wick, it's got to first wick fill and then break. It kind of like stretches a bit more than if it's a shorter wick like this. So what I would love to see for GJ is a volume-based play to break out of this general zone over here. Once it starts breaking above like this 199-ish level, rebreak of the wick highs and then just distribute. That's what I think I would overall like to see. I thought we could probably start getting one distribution from this zone, but it looks like low volume. Let's come back in. You see GJ is moving more like a, getting more of these moves during the pre-NY. You see, shortly before the New York session here opens up, that's when we start getting again that directional coming, that direction doom. So it makes sense for now just to chill over here. I think that's going to be in the next hourly open. We should start get some sort of like direction. Yeah, like Goldie started to move up here. How high can we go? How high can you go? Gold triangle formation on the weekly time frame. Oh, nice. This is what gold. Oh, gold triangle formation. Isn't that what they're saying on the fundamentals here as well? We read something about a triangle formation. How do I do the search thing? Where is that? Analysis. Yeah, I guess so. I guess we have a gold triangle formation there. Getting a higher time frame players ready to get in here, I guess. Take a buy here, stop loss below here, and then price can move up. Triangle formation is always the strongest formation. That's why TetraFX logo is a triangle. Now you can see price can move up here to like, you know, 3600. 3600 I guess will be like a 1-to-1. Because once we start to break above 3500, next psychological mark there is 3600. and then you can go over to, you know, 3,700. What EMAs do you use and how do you use them when taking a trade? It's just like it makes my trades feel a bit more in line. You know, if I'm looking for a buy, then I have my SMAs all facing in that same direction. It's nice because, you know, they act as forms of dynamic support and resistance. Basically, you're gonna see price react off of them really nicely. So if you get something like an SMA crossover and that sort of thing, you know, it's pretty nice. Like, think about it this way, right? So I took a buy here. Stop loss was below here. Got a really nice SMA confluence. And then notice how price a crossover over here. Notice how the SMAs cross over and you get this volume, right? And then you start breaking below it, you get volume back down. And then there was another re-entry over here. Notice how price breaking above, such as this. You know, look at what the SMAs are doing. It's doing the same thing that it did here, in line with price action and entry confirmations. And then what do you expect? You expect volume to come in, you know, like that. Just the same way like this. And also sometimes, you know, if you're in drawdown and you got like an SMA over there, it can protect your position. Yeah, price is coming up now. Could this be the real distribution? Where's the daily? Daily is about a flip here. It's at 0%. Nice to see. Nice to see. We might be having a bullish Wednesday here. See, that's what I meant. Like, if you're holding a runner, right? What's the probability of this running as opposed to something like this over here running? You know, you got a stop loss above looking for a sell. Much lower probability than if you're in this like swing entry model buys here for a runner. You see what I mean, guys? Like, look at this. Going with a trend. Directional confluence. Boom. Man, but Goldie has been running so beautifully of late to the upside. Really nice. Really freaking amazing here. Oh, man. This is the first time I'm seeing the London session move. I feel like this is the first time I've seen an actual move in the London since like a month. That price looks like it wants to move somewhere. You took that trade. You're in a, what's that? Like 1 to 3 RR. That's why I closed the sell earlier. I wasn't sure. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that was very, very smartly played. Makes a lot more sense. This would be more lucky, you know. This would definitely be more lucky than something like that. I got 3% up. Yeah. So I think it's pretty good. I think that is amazing. Waiting for you to confirm my hold. Oh, the hold? Hold. But man, 3%. If I get a trade, I'm securing 2%. Even if price continues to move up, you know, I'm going to take that 2% and I'm just going to call it a day. But look, if you're waiting for me to buy, I'm gonna be waiting a bit longer here. Because oh nice, look, you got 5-minute candlestick close above resistance there. It's a little shotgun entry, isn't it? Nice little range. Yeah, I'll be waiting for that daily. I wish the daily was like at 0. Like, you know, even 30-40%. Something like that. That would look nice. That would be for me that's kind of what I'm looking for, because I want to be trading the dailies. But right now, it's good to see. It's good to see if it can move up. Hey, Ian, thank you for the sub, man. Appreciate it. But you can get the EMAs. If you want to get the SMAs, they're in the description box. Put them on, see how they react with your price action. And, you know, sometimes you just need like a little extra thing there, like to give you a sort of a stimulation. If you're just using candlesticks, you know, that's fine. But sometimes at these like invisible levels, price reacts off of. So I experiment with pivot points, point of control, but I found the SMAs worked really nice. But there's always some kind of invisible levels. You know, sometimes it's even just older levels of support and resistance. That can be the case. But there's a whole amount of things which can make price like react. So for me, I like to look at clean ranges like this and say, okay, if we're breaking above here, then I think there's a good probability also in line with the trend that price continues to fill that range up towards that next level. And then if we get like some kind of SMA over here, then it makes sense why we're having some reactions. And with the SMA reactions, it's kind of like it happens quickly, right? It happens for a moment and then price action continues in whatever direction that it wants to go. So it could be good for like profit taking, sometimes get a sniper exit, or just holding a trade just a tad bit longer. We did it on the last simulation. I think the last trade we're looking at how to use the SMA to trail a position. But remember, these are lagging indicators, and the faster price moves, the longer it lags. So they're very much in handy more when you're getting your entry confirmation. So remember those two ideas that I just showed you on the 1 minute time frame, correct? So now I'm showing you a different idea on the 5 minute time frame for a swing entry model with SMA confluence. See how we're breaking above SMAs over here? A beautiful little range towards the upside, and 8 SMAs still being respected. So it's pretty nice to have them in your favor, for sure. So we got like a dynamic, you know, it's like rubber bands. Look at this. You got like some kind of dynamic support over here on the break of the highs. You closed? Nice. Where are the SMA? I need to learn about it. I never used before. They're in the WAP. They should be in the WAP somewhere, like with the links. There should be an app for links. Or just go on the YouTube video, and in the description box, there's free TetraFX SMAs. Or just come here on the Discord channel. On the Discord, go over to SMA indicator. Over here, the SMA simple moving average. Yeah, you can come here on the Discord. To be honest, it's a lucky trade. I don't remember the last time I take a 3R. No, it's not a lucky trade because look, you're going in the direction of volume. I'm also looking for buys today. Hopefully I get a buy, and there's going to be a higher probability it plays out because of, like, you know, got the direction right. Reverse head and shoulders. Oh, you got inverted head and shoulders here. Oh, yes. You even got inverted head and shoulders. You even got inverted head and shoulders with SMA confluence for the swing entry model here for price to move up. That's actually a nice catch there. It's going to fly now. SMA trading is towards the trending day. Otherwise, it wouldn't help much. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what time frame you're trading. So if you're like on the 1 minute chart, then obviously the 1 minute, the SMAs are going to be catching up a lot faster. Even on the 5 minute. So it doesn't necessarily have to be with a trending day. It just has to be with your setup. You know, like for example here, for this sell confluence, at least you had SMA. You're trading underneath that 8 SMA here. So see how it acts as a form of dynamic. Look at this dynamic resistance. Right here, it's nicely wedged itself inside here. And then it's like respects it. So you can also get these short-term moves. They're good for long-term and short-term. And then you see the moment we start to break above, the SMA is the moment it starts to reverse again. See now how that works? Coming down, start to break above, and then you see it's like an indication. Really nice indicator. Do you watch cricket? No. I don't watch cricket. I used to play cricket in high school. But I think that's about it. Because you look a little bit of Gbpjpy. Really, Gbpjpy. Let me see. Jacob. Oh, Gbpjpy. Cricket. This, what team is this? English cricket player. Dun, dun, dun. Looks like you closed right on time. Man, what a sniper exit. But I still think there's definitely some upside for the day left over here. And we're at resistance. We're currently at some kind of resistance. So it definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Some profit taking within this zone. Got a few rejection wicks there. Just get like a re-break of these highs again. Try and push on upwards. But it's still funny because this is quite early. I'm not expecting even the break to be happening at 5:26. I'll be expecting more of the next hourly. But you know, the 4 hours about to close in the next 33 minutes. So with that next hourly, oh man, this could be like a closure above 4-hour resistance. Again, for the candles to keep moving up. The next 4 hour to do this. So it's kind of like extended. 4-hour candle here, it's like pushed up about what's that, 146 pips. Once you get that new 4-hour in, I think you should be able to move up. So something basically like this. Like how you see it previously. And then the same thing again. Imagine holding the trade from yesterday. Even just a small partial. Because there's still so much more upside. We're looking at like 3470 up all the way up over here. Still so much more upside. Holy. When I started YouTube, I used to do this. I used to annoy people a lot. I used to take trades and then I would post it like this. 1 to 69, 1 to 70. I would always try and like show off like this. Because I don't feel like a lot of people have strategies which can even give them that risk reward, even if they wanted to. But we tend to get them quite often. You know, like in a trade of, let's say, 1 to 10, you know, depending on the market conditions, like this number, it can go up quite nicely. It can go up quite nicely. So it allows you to be like, okay, so, you know, I took like 3 losses here, so it's okay. I'm just going to hold one of these trades. You get a better probability. Especially when there's volume, though. When the volume is in the market like this. Like you see previous days, like when it's pushing like this. Really nice. Really nice. So yeah, I used to post that. And then people would be like, but you didn't actually hold the trade. I don't care. I could hold the trade if I want to. I could hold a trade. I'll try catch a runner for you guys. I'll try catch a runner for the gram and then post the video. The problem is, like, I got shit to do. You know, I got shit to do. I don't like being in trades for long. That's the only thing that I don't like to hold trades. Because I'd rather just have a trade and close it. Even though there's a lot of upside, I'd rather just have the trade and close it and then go do something else. You know, that's $1,000 in my pocket. I can just go off and do something else. But if we just want to flex, we can hold one time. Look at that. It's like that picture from, you seen that picture of the universe? Where it's like Earth. Earth is in the middle like this. And then it keeps zooming out, zooming out. Then you see the whole galaxy. And there's like a small little arrow there that says, you are here. But this thing just kept moving up though. Yeah, man. This could actually be quite a lot of money here. That could actually be quite a lot of money. But you know, it's not always about money. If 30-minute close higher can look to buy. 30-minute. Let's see. 30-minute. I think if the hourly, like once this hourly candle secure closes, yeah, price could be looking to continue to move upwards. Hey, what's up, Armando? Doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. But Vic, thank you, everything. You say help me in my psychology. I'm going to go and do some backtesting like every day. See you tomorrow, guys. All right, catch you later, trading. Appreciate it. Take care, take care. Having work done in my house now, missed the entry. Need to focus, but when there to talk. Entry was gone and played out. Yes, sir. That's how it is. That's how trading is. Like, you always, the moment that you have something to do, you're always gonna miss the trade. You know, like yesterday, let me even tell you, like yesterday, this move here, I almost missed this move. So basically, I saw my entry here, but I really needed to go and use the bathroom. Like, I really need to go and use the bathroom. So as I was taking my piss, I was like, man, I'm missing the move. Like, in my head, I was just like, oh, I'm missing this move. I'm gonna miss this move. I'm not gonna catch this move. And it's like trying to finish quickly, and then you come back into the charts, and it was still proper. It hadn't yet moved, thankfully. But that's something like I think a lot of traders deal with. You know, it's a lot of like waiting and anticipation, and for some reason, it's like when you want to execute, that's when something pops up. Like, you know, you gotta go and do something. You know, like a distraction comes in, or like you're not ready. You know, the worst thing is like, man, that journey, I could never do it again. Like, honestly, because what would happen for me is my moves would happen during the Asia session. So in the middle of the night, man, it would be like 3 a.m. in the morning. I have to wake up so I can go place a stupid trade, or like to see how the trade is looking, you know, where I can put my stop loss and my lot sizing as it's coming to my entries. And man, that's the worst, you know. That's the worst. That's why it's always good to have like some level of control. So if you say you're meant to trade from this time to this time, just try and have that consistently as possible, so you don't miss anything. How many screens do you have? I just have one screen for trading. This is mainly the screen that I look at here. You really don't need more than one screen, unless you're ICT. If you're ICT, then you need a lot more screens. Because, you know, ICT is like an octopus. He always got his hands all over the place. You know, he has to see what all the markets are doing, so he can make the algorithm work, you know. So if you're not ICT, then you don't need another screen. Because, you know, what happens is another screen here is going to give you analysis paralysis. Like when you start oh, look, I can do it. Let me see how many screens I can get here. Especially when you start doing stuff like this, man, because there's always a time frame that, or something that's going against you. There's always something that can create you analysis paralysis and make you feel like you might lose the trade. You know, that's going to be a higher time frame level or something. But the worst thing is that you're taking a trade based off a 1 minute time frame or a 5 minute play, that now, because, you know, sometimes the 5 minute plays look so clean like this, but if you go on a higher time frame, there's maybe a resistance right over here. So that little fluctuation that you're seeing, now your brain is making connections. Your brain is making a connection to the resistance on the higher time frame. So any sort of pullback, you start to think, oh, this is going to become a losing trade. You know, it's just the same thing that happened, literally the same thing that happened to me here yesterday. Because look at the connection now my brain was making. I took this buy, and then I switched over to the 15-minute time frame, reluctantly switched over to the 15-minute time frame, and the candlestick was moving down. So imagine this, I was in a buy, and then I saw something like this. I immediately thought, like, I'm probably gonna get faked out, you know, stop loss right below this area, because now your brain is making connections. It's thinking like the worst possible thing, and then you see what happens. Nearly had gotten stopped out, and then price just moves up. But you can avoid all of this emotional damage by just focusing on the time frame that you're executing on. You know, that's what I like to do. Because you can't have everything right. I can never take a trade on this stream that 100% of the stream is going to agree with me. There's going to be somebody who says the opposite, you know. And they're not wrong. Not necessarily. It's just a probability of it being a winning or a losing trade. So, you know, like for you, if you're doing solo trading, having more charts like this is equivalent to trading on live stream. So the more charts you have, the more eyes and reasons people can say that that's not a good trade. And now prices come up here, breaking above, creating new higher high. Can we see? No, we're just hovering at 0% there. I'm not seeing what I want to see, to be honest. I can't do that anymore. That messed me up holidays. Messed me up holding days. and days the trade. Once I would for 30 days. He held the trade for 30 days and started to play out. And I just said, fuck it, I'm closing it in this small profit. They have 0.1% for 30-day hold. Crazy. You know that's like people trade the higher time frame. They can wait even 30 days to have their stop loss hit in just like a few minutes. Maybe it's even just one day like this, for example. You know, this is the hard thing about trading higher time frames, is because your analysis can look so good here for whatever reason. And then, oh, the day that you get your entry is the same day Powell is speaking. And then, you know, something like that happens. Then you're like, damn. It's like opens a lot of risk. So you have to be on the right side of the market. Kind of like preempting Powell speaking. Hello, Troy. I know this one guy who was selling gold. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I know this one guy. He was selling gold, and he was selling gold in the higher time frame. And he told me that he was not going to close that position because his hedging a sell on gold. So his trade was, for example, like a really shitty trade. Like it barely even went into profit. It was like a wick entry like this. Like you see here, it was a wick entry like all the way here, and price was moving up. And he's telling me like, dude, I'm like, close that trade. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense. You're just gambling. I said, no, man, I'm hedging. It's my hedging strategy. I'm like, okay. Good luck with that. You know, price is going to move up here. Like gold, directionally speaking, you're having a better chance for it to move upwards. That's like selling the stock market and saying that you're hedging. Have you seen NAS 100? For example, man, this thing just moves up. It basically just moves up on the higher time frames. Yeah, like NAS 100. Oh, this was because of Trump. This was just a small dump here because of Trump. But most stock markets, they're going to be moving predominantly bullish. Predominantly bullish. Oh, wow. GJ has been moving crazy of late, though. Maybe this little distribution. Break below support. Candlesticks closing without the bottom wick. Damn, GJ looks like it wants to come down here. Look at that. Range is starting to get filled. Damn, this view counter is not working here today. Okay, buddy. DCA keep adding until you're in profits. Yeah, that would at least like make more sense. Adding until you're in profits if you're already screwed. Because this, like for example, if you get a really bad entry in a trending market, like usually price is not gonna come all the way down over here. So that's the idea behind these strategies which use martingale, is they're trying to get into profit enough to cover this position. Because they know that price coming all the way down there, it may not be happening, you know. That's a problem with having systems which have really big stop losses. And not a very well managed risk. Because all it takes is just one day. One day, especially on days like this when news is coming out, if you trade in New York session, all it takes is that one day where price just keeps going against you and the martingale is not going to work. So that forces you to close your trade at the worst possible case. Whether that's going to be like, you know, 15% loss. The thing that you think can never happen, it just takes one day like that. It just takes one day like that. That's it. How much distance between price points to the previous daily high? Oh, previous daily high. I mean, the previous daily high is already broken. So from where we are right now, it's just like 25 pips previous daily high right here. I mean, yeah, we've tapped it here. We've rebroken the previous daily. Let me see here on the kill zones. Oh, but if we're looking, actually, it should be up here. Yeah, it should be this range. No, that's an Asia session. My bad. Yeah, previous daily high was right here. We've already rebroken it once. Twice actually. Once in the Asia and then once now. And we're seeing that if price can move up towards the Asia session highs here by what's that, like 34, 38. Hey, what's up, Schwartz? Good morning. You mean today's high? Yeah, today's high is up here by 33.40ish. Asia highs. See, that's a range that we're looking at. We need about let's say 50 pips. We have like 50 more pips if we can re-break this wick. That's a pretty nice range there. For 50 more pips, I think that will be a very nice move upwards. And we're about to get the hourly candlestick here close. Normally those strategies, the stop loss is the account. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know a trend that I've realized with, it's quite interesting. You know these traders who have Lamborghinis and that sort of thing. Usually their strategies revolve more around massive risk. It's almost like they all don't know how to manage risk. It's just like, it's a common theme that I've noticed. It's like most of their trades, they only show you like the profit, but the loss is basically sometimes even half of their account. You know, and that's the thing that you don't see. It's very different from people who do like trading on a day-to-day basis. You know, very different, very, very different. I believe people who do that lifestyle trading, they cannot live stream. It's very difficult for them to live stream. That's why you don't see them live stream. Like these like social influencers who look like all polished and stuff, they can't do live streaming. Like live streaming is a whole different ball game. It's a whole different thing. Doing like, think about this. We stream like 3 hours daily. You know, taking trades. I take like maybe 2 to 3 trades a day. All signals called out. It's actually a lot of freaking effort that I put in. You know, most of the time, you know, when you're making a lot of money, let's say some of them can make like sometimes like in 50k a trade, you don't need to put that much effort in. You know, you don't. You can take like 1 trade in a week and that's it. That's it. Like, you know, how are you going to also live stream that? But at the same time, I don't think I can do it. That's why I love what it is that I do, because we're very locked into the market. You know, there's no fugazi. I would love to see at least one person, you know, like one of the major names, just one of the major names do it, like try to for like a whole month straight. And then like really then we can see how like, you know, their trades look, how their actual performances like on a spreadsheet or something. And I'll have like some accountability for that, before after pictures, signals, that sort of thing. Man, I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. It's a tough industry. Most people who can't trade, they're gonna buy a Lamborghini and say they can. That's a lot easier. Yeah, like set and forget, literally blown multiple accounts and still came profitable. Yeah, no, I'm only saying this is because when I was getting my initial courses, when I started learning, I was more gravitating towards that as well. But looking back at it now, the only person I found actual like true value from was doing it daily. Like they were actually doing it daily. But I first had to get through the lifestyle. You know, we all have to kind of like swim through this little funnel, right? When we first start a venture. So, you know, like I swim through that funnel. But what I realized from that sample sizing, what the only ones who were doing it, like actually you could follow and keep up with them, like you actually were getting some real value. The other ones were just like, you know, in Miami, I think it's just a thing in Miami, like to sell courses and that sort of thing, and, you know, rent a Lamborghini. It's like, it's almost like a lifestyle thing for these guys. It's a lot more easier. It's a lot more accessible for them to do certain things like that. And I think some of them also come from like rich backgrounds, but they don't tell you that. And yeah, it's like looking back at it now, it's just, I can see how people can fall for that. Because, you know, I also fell for it. I thought I was a smartass. Yeah, I thought I was being a smartass, but nah. Like, I think you always have to learn. In whatever it is that you do in life, you always have to go through lessons, you know. There's nothing that you can do 100%. But it's good if you can at least somehow get some value, whatever it is that you're taking a loss, that you're getting some value from it, so it's not a complete waste of time. Because some people, they waste too much time with the courses, they buy too many and they get too jumbled up, correct? And then it's always, now when you get to the next phase is when you say, okay, let me just focus on this one thing and then try and build upon it properly, correct? So don't get too jumbled up, because, you know, people have completely different ways of looking at markets, and you can never replicate one guy exactly the same way. But there's a thread, I can tell you, through the courses, all the courses that I've done, there's a thread in between how they look at markets. There's certain underlying factors that you can look and build upon. But if you're just like jumping in terms of holy grail, then you can't find a holy grail. You know, the holy grail is gonna be your edge as a trader. Deposit is literally 1K. I think I lost more money, or let me say I did not lose more money, but I definitely spent more money on courses than I ever risked in the market. For most people, it's the opposite, because a lot of people are arrogant. People think they're gonna come in here and start making money without getting any education. So a lot of people, what actually happens is they do the latter. They lose more money in the market and spend less money on the education. You know, I did the opposite. I lost less in the market and spent more on the education. The holy grail is risk management, emotional regulation. Yes. Lost 3K last month and took a break from trading. Literally made 10K this month and already withdrawn 7. Nice, Jay. Oh, deposit is literally 100K. Let's freaking go. Money, 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 money. Agree, school is expensive but worth. Yeah, it's like similar thing, you know. School is it's expensive, but it's worth it, you know. Like you could probably do well without school, but you have to be very organized, right? You have to be very organized, and it makes it a little bit easier for you, and at least you get some credentials. I'm not pro school so much, but I'm happy I went through it, because, you know, school teaches you certain things, like how to do diligence. You know, when you're given essays to write, man, it is crazy. Now that I think about it, like people would follow rules on a 9-to-5 job, like the boss tells them to. They will follow rules like the school tells them to. But when it comes to business, they behave completely differently. There's something with psychology in there that needs to be explored. But yeah, in school, man, everything is laid out for you nicely on a syllabus. And you can like follow that process, and you can go and get your degree and then get the job that you want, and then continue to follow rules all the way up until they're 9-to-5. But it's only when you're like put with the responsibility, you can do whatever it is that you want. When there's no repercussions, that's when we behave very randomly. You know, like in trading, nobody is going to tell you nothing right now. If you want to take a trade, go ahead, take a sell right here. You know, no one's going to tell you nothing. It's like, that's when we start behaving very randomly. I think it's like I think the human makeup may not be great at making decisions necessarily. Like, I don't want to get too into it though, but if you look at the way our society is built, we always have like a leader, correct? We always have a leader, and you can think of human society like sheep that need some kind of leader that they can be controlled. Not in a bad way, But you know, it is what it is. Like if you take from an outlook, if we didn't have that, then it would be anarchy. It would be chaos. Everybody, you know, it's like having a protest. You know, when you have protests and there's no leader for the protest, it's more random. It's not as good and more refined as if you had a leader. Then you can say like, you know, go here, it goes here. And if you don't have that guy, then you know, everyone can like, it can get out of hand basically. Like I think kind of what happened in Capitol Hill in America, isn't it? Like there was no single leader for that. So everybody just went into Capitol Hill and then started wrecking everything. And you know, that can go on for a long time. But you see, it's like in trading, we all have that sort of thing about us in our DNA. It's like, if we don't have someone to hold us accountable, it's a skill that you have to nurture, you know? If you don't have that, then you end up like, you know, revenge trading, over trading, all of these things, only until you get tired of your shit, you know? So you have to start rewiring your brain, because there are certain things we do subconsciously we don't even know, you know, just because we've been put in this society and been told to think in a certain way. That's why I think like especially once you get into your 20s, man, people say you should get married and should have kids and all this stuff. Man, I think by the time you get into your 20s, you need to be rewiring your brain, because your whole life, someone else has been doing the thinking for you. So it's not time to be getting married in that. That's why divorce rates are like above 50%, you know, because now you got to look at this thing from a different perspective. You got to start looking at life from a different perspective, especially if you have not had the privilege to be raised by somebody who maybe can give you those types of informations, you know? And most of us don't, to be honest. I didn't. You know, most of us have to start from scratch. You know, we have to say, okay, what can I do differently? You know, if my family is in this position here, why are we, after all of these generations, all of these years, you know, of your family tree, everybody getting born and all your, you know, to get you to be born at this time and things are not the way that you want them to be. Why is that the case? So you have to be the one to break a generational curse. You got to step outside of that box. You know, you got to step outside of that box and look at it from a different perspective and think to yourself, what has not been tried? Like, why are we still moving in this direction? What needs to change? Who has not tried something that could have gotten us from a different direction? You know, like, why has nobody here tried something a bit different? You know, if it looks like everybody's kind of doing the same thing. So, you know, in your 20s, that's when you really start to have those thoughts. Then you're going to take your risks. And, you know, if you're in your 20s, that's the best time to take your risks. You know, that's the best time. Because it gets more risky the older you get. Man, always try to find a logical way of doing things. See, a lot of strategy works. It's not the technical edge, it's the emotional that F's people up. Yes, yeah, exactly. It all comes down to psychology, correct? Like in trading, in business, whatever it is. Why are some people successful here? Most people are not successful here. Is it like something that, you know, you should think, is it something that rich people know that you don't know? You know, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a lot of like reflection, and consistency. That's really all it is. That's all it takes. Eventually, the universe, I always like to say, the universe steps out of your way. It's hard in the beginning, but with momentum, it becomes easier doing it daily. The hard part is doing it daily. But with momentum, it does become a lot easier. There's a nice little emotional graph someone posted here in the Discord yesterday. I think it was when psychology. Yeah, this nice little expected progress, actual progress, value of disappointment. So, you know, like if you just keep going, this is expected progress right over here. This linear graph. So we think it's more linear, but actual progress is not linear. It's like this, like a rapid, crazy equity. It's basically consolidation. Actual progress is like almost like a consolidation. You know, when we have like a clean range on the left-hand side and then price consolidates upwards, that's actual progress. It's hard to keep in the trade usually when price does it like this as opposed to doing it straight all at once. But it's still progress. It's still making its way up there. It's just making it difficult, you know? So that consolidation is basically life. You know how market makes it difficult for traders to fill a range when it's consolidating upwards? In real life, it's life which is done in the consolidation. It throws curveballs your way. You know, one thing happens, another thing happens. It's trying to see if you're going to stick in for the ride. And that's always the hardest part, when it doesn't go directly as you think. But most things in life don't go directly as you think. Think about all those times in school that maybe you were nervous about something and you thought it was going to go a certain way, but it never went the way that you thought it was going to go. So yeah, I think, man, if you get that emotional intelligence, you're going to be unstoppable. Because there are some people who they bend when they get pressure, and there are some people fold under pressure, and some people focus. I spent about 3K. See, courses 1.3, software and indicator 1.7, market loss 1.5. 3K is actually, it's quite a, generally speaking, it's doing really well. If we're just talking generally speaking, that's actually pretty good. Do you use OBs somehow? OBs? No. I use, is that OBs? The only OB I use is OBS. OBS to do the stream. I find that when people have money, it's easier to make even more money out of it. It's only because of investments. Yes, that's true. That's true. You know how you're gonna find, you know how you're gonna find someone who's lying is most people, they say they're rich because of cryptocurrency. So I was watching this video the other day and it was about this Nigerian billionaire. And this Nigerian billionaire story, it starts in poverty, but then he says the way he got out of poverty was through crypto. I was like, man, you know, most people who made money through crypto already had money. Even if you have $100 and like, I don't think you're gonna have that type of success. You know, like most people who made like a ton of money on crypto, they at least already had some kind of money. You're right. It's like, it takes money to make money. That's why it's like the number one goal as a trader is to get more and more capital. You're going to start with $500, then you're going to get $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and it gets much easier to make the capital then. It's a lot easier than catching risk to reward. What was your time first experience riding? Oh, a bomba clot. It's a goal, haven't yet. Oh, riding a bomba clot? I didn't even know it was a bomba clot. It was just a trade that I was holding because I wanted a risk to reward. Because, you know, eventually you're gonna catch one trade. So if you're focusing on, let's say, a 1 to 4 risk reward, for example, you're eventually gonna have a trade that's gonna work for you. But most of my experience was basically price would go up like this and then start to reverse and then hit me out at stop loss towards like the end of the day. So I would have profitable days become losing days most of the time. And also not securing anything, not managing risk. It's like, you know, if price already moves up like this much, let's say, and misses your stop loss, I mean your take profit by this much, you know, most of the time we're even willing to hold the drawdown once it comes in because we can't accept the loss. So we never really accepted the loss when we got in. So we're focused more on the reward aspect of it. So most of the time this would happen. And then I would wonder, like, how the heck can that even be possible? And it happens on the higher time frames the same way it happens on the lower time frames. Even if you have a tight stop loss, let's say even it's like a 10 pip stop loss, obviously it can come about 9 pips and then start reversing. So I feel like markets, it's more heavily due to, it's heavily more driven by psychology more than just the technicals. Because, you know, otherwise, how is it so precise to be able to do that on all systems? You know, because a lot of people used to say, oh, trade the higher time frames. Higher time frames are safer. But you get screwed just as well in the higher time frames, the same exact way you can get screwed in the lower time frames. There's no difference. Hello, just joining. Hey, what's up, Billy? Welcome, welcome. The only difference is, at least you get to rip the bandage off faster in the lower time frame. Like, you know if it's a profitable trade or not quicker. Nice little accumulation over here. Oh, that looks actually really nice. This looks really nice. Alright, I think we got Nightbot going for top fans. Oh, we got Jay at number 2. Let's go, Jay. Josh here at number 1. Architect 3. Nightbot is falling behind. Let's see who's in the chat. So you got Brian in there. Saad Allah. Nice. We got Triple Lemon here too. Here we go, Marndo. This is something like I'm waiting for some kind of confirmation like that, like a nice little accumulation breakout such as this. I think it would be good to the upside. Oh, what time is it? We've been streaming for 3 hours already. Holy, that's wild. Because yeah, this is the time that this is the time, yeah, exactly. This is pre-New York. That's what I mean. This is the time where like opposite trades can start playing out here. See, you got some sells. This is pre-New York. So trending. It looks like a London session. We didn't get any trending moves for the London here. What day is it? Wednesday? Nightbot can't win against... Oh, the Nightbot... Nightmare Nemesis. Alright, sorry, excuse me chat, be right back. Waiting for a buy at 34.26.57. Just need price to keep pushing hard. What's this? Price is now down 0.10%. There's another swing entry that played out. Got 1, 2, 3. This one's currently in place, filling this range. From here, yeah, it just tapped about 65. 65% of that range just got filled. Yeah, price is currently distributing this. It's paying out the sellers from this. So this is a 4-hour bottom wick. 4 hour. Oh yeah, true. We just got the new 4-hour candle open. So we're creating the hourly lows. After you see this 3 profitable setups, you'll take a 4th one. No, I'll take a different kind of setup. I'll take an accumulation trade, not a swing entry. Well, right now it is dumping quite a lot. I mean, it could be the case that today doesn't even get the follow through. Because we're coming back into the consolidation area here. It's about like 170 pip range. Actually, with that pre-New York candle, I thought but this could just be the 4-hour lows. Could be that 4-hour bottom wick. But ideally, it would have been nice to like re-break these highs to continue pushing upwards. Break the highs and start trickling more towards the upside. Unless this is just a 4-hour bottom wick. Here we go. I had to buy more below. Damn, I just know it go back up, but can't hold it now. It's still catching a falling knife here, yeah. Got any news? On Discord. Japan Prime Minister says agreed to work towards industry dialogue between Japan and EU to strengthen defense industries. So it's what, today at 2? That's 5:37. Does this even move GJ? Oh, I think this is kind of what's moving GJ here. So probably seeing yen strength and pound weakness that made pound break out outside of this range. It's got the Prime Minister say something. Absolutely no truth to media reports about my intention. It's true, like you never know what the Japanese what they're planning on doing next when it comes to rate decisions. That's one thing that I've realized, man. With the yen, they can surprise you. They can give you rate cuts even tomorrow, and nobody's gonna know. You're just gonna see it on the. You're gonna see it on the chart. Let's see. Japan Prime Minister has decided to resign to take responsibility for election loss. Man, you're just gonna see it on the chart, and when you ask for a statement, they're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna tell you. Maybe they got in, maybe they didn't. After you see that, oh yeah, we read that. Yeah, it would be nice to get another little beautiful little console play like this towards the upside. I also love to see a bullish gold. Great new higher high over here. Don't know why it's pulling back into the range though. Now you FOMO. This is not normal. Not proud of this shit I did here. Total drawdown 0.7%. Got out with 0.5%. Say how not to trade. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild because what you do is like you're expecting price. Wait, did you get the... Let me see. What time frame is this? That's a 1 minute, right? This is a 1 minute candlestick wall coming down. Ooh, yeah, that's a tricky thing. 34.26. Can't even see what candle this is. It's creating a really nice range though, as it's coming down like this. Very nice clean candlestick bodies. Previous day high sweeped. Back in the gulag. Yeah, this is getting late for me, guys. I gotta go and eat something right now. So I'm gonna go and eat something, and then I'm gonna see what's gonna happen later on, if there's gonna be anything. I don't know if we're gonna... I don't know if we're gonna, can we actually keep moving up though? I'd actually already expect us to be moving up because of that range. Yesterday's PA was a bit different. This is such a massive range that price could just bounce in between these two levels. It's like about 177 pips. It's a pretty wide area just to trade. See on the daily. Yeah, it's basically like a daily doji candlestick over here. Yeah, I'm gonna head out here, guys. This is eating up into my day. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Adios.
Pull up